Everybody, welcome to another edition of Delete Laws. Thank you all for coming. I want to show you a few minutes of this video, but before I do that, if everybody would do me a favor and hit the like button, take your finger real fast and just hit the like button. It'll only take you a second. Just do it. And then type in the comment section OTVO. Overturn Terry versus Ohio. Put it in the comment section. I'm going to show you guys some stuff today. I'm going to teach you guys some stuff. We're going to watch this video and then we're going to watch another video, and I'm going to teach you guys some things that I do that help me so dramatically when I deal with cops. And I'm going to show you another auditor's video right after this video. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I deal with cops and the mistakes people are making when they're forced to interact with these jackboot thug pigs. So let's watch a few minutes of this. And then, as you guys know, during my live stream, if you go to my website, Delete Laws, and you pick up anything from my website, I'm going to give you everything I sell for free on my website. Go to deletelaws.com. If you can pick up anything from my site, I'm going to give you everything I sell for free. So go to deletelaws.com. After you hit that like button, hit the like button, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Delete Laws. I'm going to show you guys the first few minutes of this. This is going to make your blood boil. This is going to piss you off. I hope you enjoy it.
Officer Eli Burke and Officer Christopher Lugg were patrolling the waters in Escambia County when they observed the operator of a pontoon vessel traveling westbound underneath the Bob Sykes Bridge, displaying both of his middle fingers while passing the officers, which hurt these officers' feelings, obviously, because they spun around and chased them down. Now, I know what some of you were thinking. It's our freedom of speech to be able to do that, but we all know they do. And anyone who's watched Audit the Audit or Lackluster would agree. But the problem here is we aren't on land, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife officers have a lot more freedoms than normal cops. One of those being safety inspections, which they can conduct whenever they want. So remember, boys and girls, if you're going to flick a cop off, don't be actively committing a crime like these knuckleheads.
Put it in neutral. What was that about? What was that about? Flipping us off. You're not in neutral. Put it in neutral. Put it in neutral. Here's your video.
So obviously, when the cops ask you what was that about, you should pull your two fingers out and give him a double bird right there to his face so he can make sure that he saw that you gave him not one bird, but you gave him the double bird.
Just put it in neutral. I'll tell you what, man. If you bring attention to yourself, we'll come figure out what's up. That's all. Don't grab the boat. Just sit down. Whose boat is this?
It's Freedom Boat Club, and I work for them.
Okay, you work for him? All right. I don't want anybody grabbing life jackets or anything else I'm asking for. I want him to do it. All right?
Yes, sir. Life jackets, where you want them? All life jackets are on the back.
All right, listen to me. I need 9 life jackets, your registration, a throwable, and a fire extinguisher.
All right, throwable. Right here.
Okay.
Fire extinguisher is right in here.
Show it to me.
Right
No, I want to check that gauge, brother. If it's a Freedom Boat Club boat, they got to make sure it's squared away. Is it good to go? Yeah.
It's a brand new boat, so the fire extinguisher is good.
How old are you, bro?
I'm 18.
18?
You want to see boater's license?
Yeah, sure. You got it.
Right here, I got it right here.
Just keep finishing out what you're supposed to provide, all right? Who on this boat's over 21? Nobody? All righty. Because there's a whole bunch of alcohol in here. I can smell it. So, B, there's a natty light can sitting on the ground. Going out on your feet. You sure about that?
Yeah.
You're slurring your words, man.
Yeah, so if you haven't drank anything, would you be comfortable on our boat doing this, right? Yes, sir.
Okay. Put a life jacket on. We still need the life jackets as well. I'm gonna hold on.
Yeah, show us the life jacket first.
So I know that's one. Do you have enough jackets for everybody on the boat?
I have 13 of
Where's the rest of them at? Okay. Yeah, well, I know there's only 3 in there. So. We'll get to that second part in a sec.
Nah, just let him get the life jackets. If there's some under the seat, let him get them. You can get up for that.
Man, this is a lot of ordering you around. This is a lot of people deciding that the cops are your boss and they're allowed to order you around. You don't have to put up with this. You don't have to tolerate the way they're being treated. There's a way you can fight back. I'm going to show it to you in a second.
Yeah, bro. So we do want to. I'm not gonna make you take them out if I can count them. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 7. We don't have plenty inside C7. I'm not being picky. It's just I can't see through 7. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. That's good.
No, he is just being a dick.
You want to get him on the bed, look at that? Or you want me to get on their bed? Here, you look up there. All right, would you be comfortable?
That'll work. Just
Be careful, Bill, on that.
do it in the back. Here, let go, bud. I'm gonna break away for just a sec because I don't have to worry about bumping y'all. Okay? I'm gonna sit right here so nobody hits you guys.
Shout out to the
4327.
They're just allowing these cops to dominate them, and they're not in any way invoking their rights.
So, about on a scale, 1 being stone cold sober, 10 being I'm drunk, where do you fall? 3. Yeah. So you have had alcohol.
Yes, sir.
What kind of alcohol?
Natural light.
Natural light.
Holy smokes. Your right to remain silent exists on the water as well. Why in the world is he telling that cop he's been drinking alcohol? Why is he saying anything? It won't change the outcome of what will happen to him. You cannot tell pigs that you have broken the law or they will arrest you.
Yeah, I saw that running feet. All right. I'm going to check your eyes. Hold your head still and follow the stimulus with your eyes.
Do
only.
not
you
do
understand?
that.
All right, I skipped over the field sobriety tasks, and they're incredibly boring compared to land field sobriety tests. And honestly, if he passed with flying colors, they would have just arrested him anyways for underage beverage consumption.
Boot off.
So why'd you flip us off?
It's a marina thing. You know how it is. Have you ever been to the marina?
Yeah, but that caused a lot of attention.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get that.
They're getting
Okay,
dominated
turn up.
by these
All right,
pigs.
stand up. Turn around.
Going in torture cuffs. He's going in torture cuffs.
Place in arrest for both under that clause. All right, is that too tight?
That's fine. Y'all all in?
Yes, sir.
All right. He's going to be placed under arrest for boating under the influence, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, sorry, it's a little awkward. He said nobody on this boat can drive this boat, so here we are. So we don't have to wait for somebody to come out and get it. Your flashlight's
No
on.
one else can drive the boat. He's gonna drive us back.
That came from him, so.
We're good.
Yeah, you guys, y'all can get your whole. It's a good time, I get it, but y'all can get a whole bunch of trouble going y'all's way if y'all start getting busted with underage alcohol stuff, all right?
Yes, sir.
It's generally.
It was an illegal stop to begin with. and they didn't invoke their rights at all. They're just getting dominated by these pigs. It's horrible to watch.
Misdemeanor, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still a criminal record. So that'll be put in your record, and it's hard to get that crap off. So I'd probably recommend just playing it low key till y'all hit 21, or being a little smarter about what y'all do. All right. So,
earlier, he believes that he has the individuals.
Said I would be careful about drinking under 21. So everybody here, if you're over 0.02, which is literally like a single drink, guaranteed will put you over 0.02. Doesn't matter your body type. And you blow.
Yeah, we worked a single 3 before noontime, but that's
Is it in a PDT? That's arrestable, man. So not a lot of times we'll try to give you court date, and the judge will defer it. Try to give people. We don't like writing young people stuff, all right? But something like that, where we drive by, we're minding our own business. We got a guy standing up, flipping everybody off, exiting the steering wheel, not driving in the middle of a bridge, where you got people coming from left, right, and other traffic and wakes, and he's taking his hands off the steering wheel to go over there. It's nothing to do with this. It's he doesn't want to drive the boat when he's got all y'all on board, all right?
He's just
we
making
turn around
it up.
and he's in his status, so we take that serious, because all it can do is, say this thing caught a wave and it went right in, and he's not sitting here to immediately go left, you guys are going to hit the bridge. Everybody in the front of this boat's going to have a bad day. So it can get real serious, y'all. Look out for yourselves.
Did you just hear him predict that they would hit the bridge? That because they flipped off these dirty jackboot thug pigs, that they're going to hit the bridge?
Sitting here to immediately go left, you guys are going to hit the bridge. Everybody in the thing, he's in his.
I'm so sorry. Let me go back to this bullshit cop logic one more time here. Let's listen to it from the beginning. I'll go back 10 seconds.
Sitting in the steering wheel, not driving in the middle, like writing young people stuff.
Okay, so he says, we're right, blah, blah, blah. Now here comes the beginning of this blurb where he just makes up that because he flipped off the cops, he's going to cause a boating accident. He's going to crash into the bridge.
All right, but something like that, where we drive by, we're minding our own business. We got a guy standing up, flipping everybody off, exiting the steering wheel, not driving in the middle of a bridge, where you got people coming from left, right, and other traffic and wakes, and he's taking his hands off the steering wheel to go over there. It's nothing to do with this. It's he doesn't want to drive the boat when he's got all y'all on board, all right? And we turn around and he's in his status, so we take that serious, because all it can do is, say this thing caught a wave and it went right in, and he's not sitting here to immediately go left, you guys are going to hit the bridge. Everybody in the front of this boat's going to have a bad day. So
because he took his hand off the steering wheel and flipped us off, and we were so offended that we had to run over and roust some young college folks into some garbage. You're going to crash. You must be willing to crash. If he's going to flip us off, you guys are going to hit a wave and everybody's going to die. And it's your friend's fault. He's the bad guy. And the guy says, yes, sir.
Because all it can do is, say this thing caught a wave and it went right in, and he's not sitting here to immediately go left, you guys are going to hit the bridge. Everybody in the front of this boat's going to have a bad day.
Hey, the world turned to mush tomorrow.
It can get real serious, y'all. Look out for yourselves. On the water, stuff turns bad pretty quick. It's pretty unforgiving. So
where
do y'all go to school?
Put a 1 in the chat if things went bad when the pigs came on the scene. Put a 1 in the chat if things went bad when the pigs came on the scene. I'm just wondering, everything was going fine till the pigs got there. Their friend wasn't going to jail. Nobody was too drunk to drive the boat. There's some kids out there drinking some beers out on the water, having a good time. Nobody was in danger. The cops were offended. And he's trying to cop-splain how they're going to get in an accident and crash the boat. Put a 1 in the chat if everything was fine before the pigs arrived.
We just graduated from boat breeze.
Okay.
2023.
Bunch of breezers, huh?
Yes, sir.
Where are you from? Okay. There you go.
Wait, make sure he knows.
UWL spawn.
I'm out there. Oh, wait. When did you graduate? How old are you turning? Wait, you're older than Corey? Yes. I'm like, you're super. I'm turning 20 March. Triple super.
I graduated.
Nah, it's
all the way at the end of the left.
You turn 20 this year?
Next year.
See, Trevor's old.
The fuel doctor.
Trevor turns 20 this year.
So when it turned right after the fuel dock.
Okay. On the
There's a
inside.
slip. Yeah, there's a slip literally right here. Before this dock, right here. Yes, sir.
In October.
Y'all don't crush your hands in the seawall, all right? So don't be sticking your hand out. Don't get out from behind that rail either.
Yeah, get that background, bro.
Is this somebody's mom?
She actually works. She might
Okay.
actually work for Freedom. Not sure.
Sorry about that. Yeah, y'all stay seated. I'm sorry, bud. This thing's touchy. Oh, I can drive the heck out of any boat except the pontoon boat. These things, they just don't respond, man. It's like too big. I'm driving a 30-foot twin-engine boat. What do you mean too big? Our other boat's 32. No, these things just, you can't walk them. They just like are on rails. They literally just go like that.
That's 30 feet?
Yeah, bro.
That thing moves.
She's pretty good. Watch your hands, bud. Let go. We're good.
Trying to make up that these guys were too drunk to drive a boat. A bunch of high school kids just graduated. Maybe the criminalization of alcohol, maybe that should change. It hasn't worked since Prohibition in 1920. It's still not working today. The criminalization of alcohol has ruined people's lives continuously when not everybody has an alcohol problem. Not everybody's too drunk to drive.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Oh, no, the glasses.
Glasses are his. This is all his?
Yes.
Is there anything else in this boat that's his?
Maybe he slides. But I'm not sure
Well,
where it
that
is.
needs to go. He works here. He can store some stuff here, but where's his shoes at?
All right, I'm ready to. I'm good.
Do you guys know where his shoes
All
are,
right,
guys?
perfect. What are you looking for?
Are these his right here? Yeah, no, I was just trying to get my shoes.
Beer bongs, huh? Y'all use those for Capri Suns?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Water?
What you need, bro?
Where's his shoes at, gentlemen?
These are flip flops right here.
Okay, there we go.
My slide anywhere on there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're right here.
Yes, sir.
Where's y'all's trash on this boat?
It's all thrown away actually.
Where'd y'all throw it away at?
At Farmers.
Did you? Okay. Alrighty. Listen, I'm dead serious, guys. Y'all, I probably wouldn't drive if you've been drinking, so I'm not gonna go through this with everybody.
We got a ride waiting for us.
I think that's a good idea. Hey, is the boat okay? I guess you worked here.
Yes.
This is y'all's boat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is where it's supposed to be, correct? The switch is off, or the key's off. Key's still in it. I think you're good. Okay. He's getting arrested for boating under the influence. So.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if he has anything else or duties he needs to do today, but he's not going to be coming back today. So, all right. Do you have any questions or anything?
No.
You guys both just work there, just you two?
Yeah.
Okay, 10-4. Realize, I know you did what you did. You may think that's why we turned around. Definitely grabbed our attention, but you stepped up from the steering wheel, walked to the center of the boat while underway in the middle of a bridge when our boat, which is a bigger boat, has a bigger boat weight, right? And sit there and did whatever you did. Nobody's driving the boat. You know, if that wake hits, if somebody's coming, you're coming around a corner where there's blind corners both directions where dummies never stop. So all that stuff's going on while you're.
Okay, no, I understand. I'm boating. I'm good on. I didn't stand away from the boat at all. I had control of the boat at all times.
You stood in the middle of the boat and held two fingers up. How did you have control of the boat?
I was the one of them. But no, I had a hand on the wheel at all times.
Brother,
Yes, sir.
you had two hands high in the air because I promise you, I was like, I waved back thinking you were waving at us. And then I was like, I guess there's something more to that.
So if you've reached the end of this video, I'm shocked.
Well, I'm not shocked, bro. You showed the absolute tyranny that is the police in America. So what's the first thing that the guy did wrong? He talked. The very first thing that he did wrong was he started talking. He started saying this and that, and he started talking about what? You have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Why don't you use it? Why would you? So you can dominate cops every time you interact with them if you learn how to invoke and use your rights. I know that the people here, you guys do me a favor, hit the like button if you guys have seen me dominate cops. And what makes me any different than you? Knowledge. That's it. The only thing difference between you and I, and you guys watch me dominate these jackboot thug pigs, is that I have the knowledge and the confidence to use the knowledge on them And I start off with invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
I know what some of you were thinking. It's the audit life op.
Put it in neutral.
So there's going to be different laws on the water than there is on the land. So you're automatically on the water. There's different, it's maritime laws. So there's some differences. But these guys are working under the color of law for the state in which they are patrolling the water. So that means because they're working as agents of the state using the laws that were crafted from that state or the federal laws, then you still have your rights. He still could have said immediately, am I being detained or am I free to go? Why didn't he start with that? And when you're going to flip off cops, it's not a good idea to have beer or alcohol sitting around open around them. There's just so many mistakes that this person made. It is so frustrating to watch it. It is so frustrating to watch it. You have got to know every single law on my trifold. You have got to know every single law on the 5A cop card that I'm putting out to people. Like, you have got to know how to use your 5A cop card. You have got to know how to use your trifold, and you have to use it. If you don't use any of your rights, when these jackboot thug pigs force you to force themselves into your life and force you to have to be involved with them, then you're going to get dominated. If you don't know your basic Fifth Amendment right, if you don't know how to talk to them, because they're going to intrude on your life. Put a 1 in the chat if you know that the cops are going to intrude on your life. Put a 1 in the chat if you know it for a fact. If you know it for a fact that the cops are going to intrude on your life, put a 1 in the chat. I just want to see how many people know for a fact that cops are going to intrude on your life. Let me know if you guys got that. So I'm going to show you another video, and this one's on land. So I don't want to give you guys the wrong information from what you see on land compared to what you see on water. So I want to show you this video, and for this auditor, it goes by First Amendment Protection Agency. I'm going to show you guys something that I do that so this is the name of the channel if you guys want to get over here and subscribe to this guy's channel. I really like his channel, so I'm going to drop his link down here in the description. We have to support one another in the fight for justice and for freedom. So there's his link. Oh, you got it? Nice. 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 Oh, so armed stones 420. I sent him the trifold and I sent him the 5A cop card, and he got it all printed out. Hell yeah, bro. So just so you guys know, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Chille. I am Delete Laws. And what I do on every one of my live streams, and I'll continue to do it until I'm dead, I give away all of my products for free. Go to deletelaws.com. If you can afford to buy one thing, I would really appreciate it, because then it kind of offsets people. I give away 90% for free. 10% of people buy something. So with that being said, if you can afford to buy one thing from my website, I check the orders on my back end right here. I got my back end order tab open right here. I'm looking at it. And then what I do is, as soon as I get your order in, I peel your email address off there, and then I email you the trifold. I email you the 5A cop card. I email you my ebook. I email you my poster. I send you absolutely everything that I sell on my website for any purchase. Now, the 5A cop card hard copy and the trifold hard copy, I don't give these away. Well, that's not true. I do give them away for free too. You have to be here on the live and participate. Here are yesterday's winners. Here are yesterday's winners of the 5A cop card. If you participated yesterday and I asked you to participate and then you did, then here are the winners from yesterday. I'm going to read off all those names. And so this is the driver 5A cop card. If you're driving the car, this is the card you use if you get pulled over. It's similar to the trifold, but it's just for a guy that goes in his wallet, or a girl goes in her wallet. But then you have the same information for the driver in your pocket. And then this is the non-driver. And number 4 on the non-driver 5A cop card. Oh, that says driver as well. God bless America. Can I get a non-driver card over here, pretty please? Those are all drivers too. Where the flock did the non-driver card go? Here it is. Forgive me. So this is the non-driver card right here. You see how it says number 4 on there? Cop demands ID. A lot of people get the card just for this number 4 when the cop is demanding ID from you and there's no reason to give him ID. And he's saying that he has reasonable articulable suspicion, number 4. In the yellow is what you say. I plead the Fifth Amendment. I identify as good citizen. No ID is required. The law is in the blue. Hibble versus Nevada, 2004, a Supreme Court case that says with reasonable articulable suspicion, citizen must state how they ID. Do not give ID without probable cause. And then right up there in the yellow, it says, I plead the Fifth Amendment. I identify as good citizen. So as you guys know, every day, now the only difference between this card right here, this is the 5A cop card that you got from my website and you laminated it yourself. And I sell it for $10, but I'll give it to you for free if you can't afford that $10. This is the credit card version. So the only difference is one, I print out from my website and I laminate it. The other one is a credit card version that's already like a hotel key. You see, so that it won't fade. It won't rip. This 5A cop card, so many. Oh, just so you know, I'm so sorry. Let me read off the names from yesterday. So I have not gone to the post office yet. I will go after this live. I'm going to end this live stream at 3 p.m. because I have stuff to do today. So that's in 2 hours. Here's how many 5A cop cards I've given away in the past 4 days. So this is the stack that you guys saw yesterday, and this is the stack from yesterday. So this is how many people I'm going to give 5A cop cards to. And yesterday's winner are Bartholomew in PA, Mr. White in Tennessee, Mr. or Mrs. Evans in Missouri, Mr. Casper in Michigan, Ms. Chafin in Oklahoma, Mr. Miller in PA, Mr. Couture in California. You got a 5A cop card coming to you in the mail. Mr. Valdez in Texas. You got 2 5A cop cards coming in the mail. And Lisandro in California. And then Mr. Wilson also in California. Mr. Mines in California. Mr. Viegel in New Jersey. You won a 5A cop card yesterday. Mr. Mayo in Iowa. Mr. Mayo in Iowa. And then I'm back to Mr. Rooney in PA. So these people yesterday got in on it. I give away these things as quickly as I possibly can. I want to get these out into the public as quick as I can. So if you don't buy one from me, you can get one right here. So this is what's going to go in the mail. 3 o'clock, I'm out of here. And my first stop is the post office because this is how many 5A cop cards I've given away that are actual hard copies that I'm mailing to people today. That I'm mailing today. These are going out today. I swear to God, 3 p.m. today, I have to end this live stream because I've got to mail these out to people. I've got to mail these out to people. And here's all the stamps. I don't want to show anybody's addresses or anything, but we're ready to go. There's all the stamps on all these. I'm sending all these off today. Nobody is a loser. You don't have to have any money to get my products. Now you have to have, well, if I give you one for free, you don't. So I don't send these off very often, but I have given away a few for free this week. I've given away 6 of these this week. And I don't usually give away the hard copy trifold, but I do sometimes. However, the print at home trifold and the print at home 5A cop card, I give away every single day in the masses. Go to my website right now during this live stream. And I will also give you this poster that I made. This is the Supreme Court's on the top. These are the presidents on the black bar. This is the prison industry right down here and how it took off after Terry versus Ohio. This is the lynching graph right down here. And then these are the icons throughout history, these figureheads up here that kind of formed America that we live in today. And so now what I'm going to show you guys, this video from First Amendment Auditor, First Amendment Audit Protection Agency right here. This guy's got 10,000 subscribers. And he's called First Amendment Protection Agency. And I'm actually going to give away a couple of my tells right here. I'm going to teach you guys what I do when I'm face-to-face with cops and what he doesn't do. And so for First Amendment Audit Protection Agency, if you guys would, please, you can see that I'm subscribed. I already liked the video. I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to, there's my comment right there. Oh, he replied. I didn't even realize how loud it was. So I was holding my, so I put right here, maybe no gum, good work, but I can hear you smacking that gum. And he put, I didn't even realize how loud it was till after. I was told definitely going to have to fix that. All good. Make sure you guys drop him a comment and drop him a like so that he can see, so that it helps his algorithm. Make sure it helps his algorithm. We want to help these people as much as we possibly can. What's going on, Lauren? Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I got a little thing in my throat. Got some new folks in here. Val, what's going on? Cope Dogged Dog, what's going on, my friend? How are you, my friend? Trees Breeze. Daryl, what is going on? Is that Notting Hill Barrister? Nice to see you, my friend. I don't know where you are, my friend. I don't know what city, state, or country you're in. Notting Hill sounds like it's over across the pond. Yeah, the poster is pretty amazing. Okay. I do still have a $30 trifold coming in the mail, still waiting on it. Yep, it takes up to 21 days sometimes, but if you don't get it after 21 days, please contact me. Please contact me, and I'll make sure you get your trifold. We don't miss anybody. I don't miss a single person. So listen, I'm going to watch a few minutes of this video. I'm going to check my back end orders. If you go to deletelaws.com anytime right now, order anything. I don't care if it's $5, $10, $20, $30. I don't care. I just want you to get my trifold in your car. I want you to get this in your car. Even if I have to give it to you for free because you don't have any money, I'll still give it to you for free. I want you to get my trifold in your car. I want you to have the 5A cop card. I want you to have it and be able to use it. Cop asked to search your car. Do you know how to handle that? It's right there. Filming. You can give consent and then revoke consent. 1991, Florida versus Gimeno. You have the right to revoke consent if asked for consent. There it is. All right, let's get into this. And so for First Amendment Protection Agency, that's the name of this guy's channel. For First Amendment Protection Agency and any other activist or auditor who's going to go out and film cops, I'm going to give you some real direct advice here. Some real direct advice. And I know that any vice is a vice. And so I don't want to be, I just want to show you what works for me. First Amendment Audit Protection Agency. I want to show you what works for me, and then you can decide if you want to use what I do for yourself.
Call me dumb again.
That's a secondary.
5 seconds to leave.
I want
going to jail. I'm the chief.
Call a judge. Call a judge.
4, 3, 2, 1. You're under arrest. Anything you do other than what I tell you will be considered resisting arrest. Do you understand?
South Carolina. These are the events. Let me read this for you. These are the events that took place 11/7/2023 around noon in the post office at 315 Augusta Highway, Allendale, South Carolina. The body cam and 911 call will soon be released.
29810. Got somebody coming in. Stand right here.
I think he's going to give up the gum.
Seven. How you doing? Yes, I'll be up there in 1 second.
He does something pretty unique here that I thought was super interesting. I'll show it to you in 1 second. It's about to come up.
Is the postmaster in today?
OIC.
You're what? I'm sorry.
OIC.
I'm not familiar with that. What is that?
Officer in charge.
Officer in charge. All right. What was your name?
Sherry.
Sherry. Nice to meet you, Sherry. My name's Johnny. How much is...
Did she call herself the OIC, the officer in charge? I think she did.
Officer in charge. All right. What was your name?
Sherry.
Sherry. Nice to meet you, Sherry. My name's Johnny. How much is one stamp?
66 cents.
66 cents? 66? I thought it was 65.
No.
Oh, boy.
66.
Isn't it set to go up again pretty soon?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
boy. You know when?
sorry, I don't know the date.
He bought a stamp.
But I can look it up if you need it. You just need one stamp?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
That is it.
35 cents.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You want your receipt?
Yes, please. Actually, that would be great. Now, Sherry, let me ask you a question. Are you familiar with your poster 7?
The what?
The poster 7?
Poster 7?
Yes, the poster 7.
No.
You're not? Really? Well, maybe that's something you should look into. But usually, I get quite a reaction when I come in here walking in with a phone. So, but
Yes,
you know, at least
about, you know.
At least if you don't know, you didn't overreact like I usually get. It's that's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. But
Well, I'm doing my job, so
well,
I don't have any reason to overreact.
you'd think not. You would think not.
I hope not. Well, I'm gonna circle this this 800 number down here.
Okay.
I was about to head out after thinking no one was going to say a word, but I knew things were going to go downhill when this clown showed up.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
You gotta get permission to take pictures of me, man.
No, I don't.
Hey, what's wrong with this crazy guy in here?
I have no.
You can't be doing that.
I don't know what he's doing. I'm not sure. Call somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. You got enough of these craziness going on around here.
Yeah, I don't know. This is all about you. I don't know.
Let me get to put the stamps, please, man.
Okay.
He's this crazy guy. You can't just be taking pictures of people.
Yeah. I'm gonna call somebody.
I got you, Philip. Check your email. I'm sending you everything I sell for free. Check your email, Philip. Philip in San Bernardino.
What's up, sir? How you doing? Are you all right? I don't know what he's doing. You just can't be filming people without letting them know what he's doing. I know that.
Okay.
I got rights too. You just can't be filming nothing.
No, I can't. No.
I know you can't.
So something I do here, something that I do that other people may want to incorporate or you may not. When a member of the public asks me what I'm doing, I'm there standing up for their rights. So what I will do personally, and any other auditor activist can take this, I will inform the person, I'm here flexing our rights. This is a First Amendment stress test for your rights. I have the right to film in here, so that's why I'm filming you. Why keep him in the dark? He's the person that we're advocating for. This is the man who we're doing this First Amendment audit for. It's for him and for me. It's for our rights. So anytime that someone asks you, hey, what are you doing here? You'll hear me say, I'm filming the cops so they don't beat you up. I don't go to post offices. I don't think I have in the history of my auditing. I don't think I've ever gone to a post office. I take on cops. But don't be afraid to let the citizen who you are filming, let that person know what you're doing. And if the other people hear what you're doing, that's fine. I'm on the record. I'm here to stress test our rights. That's what I'm doing here. I'm stress testing our rights that I have the right to film in here. Are you going to back me up? Make him make the decision on whether or not he's going to back you up, but give him the information so he doesn't think you're just some creeper stalking him.
What's up, sir? How you doing? Are you all right? I don't know what he's doing. You just can't be filming people without letting them know what he's doing.
Then tell him. Tell him what you're doing.
I know that.
Okay.
I got rights too. You just can't be filming nothing.
No, I can't. No.
I know you can't. I know that.
Now, auditor, educate him further. Poster number 7 says that we have a right to film in the public lobby of the post office. Tell the citizen what you're doing and win him over.
Yeah, I know what you can and can't do.
Oh, apparently not.
Apparently, I know you can't be filming me without me knowing.
Oh, you know now. Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Educate him, my friend. You know the education. You know poster 7, backwards and forward. Educate the man.
Walk in here, cause a disturbance, and call me a crazy guy.
What disturbance I got?
Hmm?
What disturbance I got?
Hey, you're coming in here raising your voice
It's my
over a
voice.
phone.
It's my voice.
Yeah.
But you can't be just filming.
No,
me.
absolutely I can. Absolutely I can.
Yeah, please. That's the problem with y'all now.
What do you mean, y'all?
You got right. See, I got right too. Freedom of speech. I can say what I want to say.
Exactly. Well, this is part of it.
Auditor, educate him. It's my right to film in a public lobby of a post office. It's well illustrated in poster number 7, which you can look up on your phone. Go put USPTO and put poster number 7 and read it yourself. I'm doing a First Amendment protected activity flexing our rights together.
You're referring to the First Amendment, I know. Oh boy, Sherry. This is going a lot better in the beginning.
You gotta let people know what you
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
I guarantee you do in this post
No,
office.
I guarantee you I don't.
Okay.
If you'd like, you can stick around for a free education. Maybe the cops are coming. I don't
need
know.
no education from you.
Oh, it's not going to be for me. It'll be from the cops that come.
I don't need no education from you.
Maybe you didn't hear me. I said it will be the.
Maybe you didn't hear me what I said.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Why are you talking to me? Yeah, you the smart one.
Yeah, I know. And you seem to be the dumb one.
Call me dumb again. Call me dumb again. Call me dumb again.
You're dumb. I'd say it right to your face, bro. I would say you're dumb. You're ugly. You stink. You got razor burn, bro. Why don't you put a rag on that, get it nice and heat it up first so you don't get so much razor burn. It's pretty common in the black community. They get this really bad razor burn. Some, not all black people. But at this point, I would tell them, not only are you dumb, you're weak. Not only are you weak, you're pathetic. Not only are you pathetic, you stink. You smell like a butt. That's what I would have said to him. But I'm also a badass, and I don't mind getting in a fist fight if someone takes a swing at me. So I would have told him he's stupid, he's ugly, and that he's got to work on his razor burn, bro. Go soak that with some hot water first. Get the cells to open up and open so they're not all constricted. Because when you shave on constricted, I'm just telling you what I would have said. God bless this auditor put in this really rough position with some guy in his face.
Call me dumb again.
Dumb. What a wussy. You're a real tough guy, bro. Walking up to a guy with a camera, getting in his face. You're a real tough guy, bro. Auditor did a good job. Stood mute. Didn't incite the riot. Didn't incite.
That's crazy, Sherry.
Didn't harass the guy. You know, I'm a little more abrasive than this guy is, but he did a good job. He didn't incite or cause any kind of public controversy or any kind of riot. He didn't disturb the peace. He kept his mouth shut.
Started off a lot better, guys.
The way he did it may be better than the way I would do it. But as you know,
nice cordial conversation with Sherry.
I'm pretty abrasive. So,
well, this started off a lot better, guys. We're about to have a very nice cordial conversation with Sherry, but now this has turned to a different situation. As you guys know, these things change quick, so.
I dropped his link in the chat. It's First Amendment Protection Agency. I'm going to drop his link in the chat again. Go over, subscribe to this guy. Tell him Delete Laws sent you. But definitely, P-Rex is in the house.
Be careful. I wouldn't take your phone out. This guy's going to get in your face. This guy. I wouldn't take your phone out. I wouldn't do it.
Keep being smart, and you're gonna get what's coming to you. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
I guarantee you.
Okay.
Can someone answer his question in the
Sounds
comments? Someone answer Kurt's question. Let him know. Always put a hashtag on that.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but Sherry already called 911. Good. This guy will learn something.
I mean, I suppose auditing a post office is a good way to get a face-to-face interaction with pigs. I just choose to go directly to their lair, the pig trough where they work, and go at them right there inside that pig trough.
Yes. Put the stamps, please.
Okay, you know, we had a sheet up there. She's dating me if you got family trips.
There we go. That was quick.
Hello. What's going on?
We have a gentleman recording, and he's recording people, I don't know. If that's against
How you
the law
doing?
or not, but some people don't want to be recorded. But he won't.
Doesn't know if it's against the law or not, but she figured she'd call the police. How
I
brilliant.
understand. You gotta let me know if you recorded it. If I'm coming in a public place.
Actually, no.
And do you hear this guy?
Hey, just,
I done told you, be smart, be smart.
Go ahead, do something. Do something in front of this guy. Go ahead.
Be
Sir.
smart.
I already have the first one on video, dude. So
sir,
relax.
just focus on me. If you're in a public place,
Relax, buddy.
you generally assume by the law to have consented to be recorded. So I don't have to tell you if my body camera's on. If you're in a public place, you can be recorded. Now, if there's an issue with the post office, okay, if there's a policy of the post office, you know, and you want them gone, you can ask them to leave.
Really?
You have asked them to leave.
So this is where I'm going to help some auditors and some activists here.
Transacting.
I do have legitimate business here. I already did transact. Yes.
Okay, so now you're loitering.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so right here, if you're an activist or an auditor, you want to take control of the pig. You guys see how I do it. What do I say? Actually, I'm a constitutional law scholar. I do know the laws. I know them better than you. You as the activist, you as the auditor need to come up with your tagline that puts me above you. Remember, these guys are beta male chump, jackboot, thug pigs. What they are looking for is the person above them to give them an order. How do we know that? How can I prove that to you, that what I'm saying to you right now is true? Let's go back to a place called Uvalde, Texas. There's a madman in the classroom executing kids one at a time. We can hear, boom, another kid dies. Boom, another kid dies. You got 300 cops on the other side of the wall. They have ground into their brains that officer safety is the most important thing on the scene, that when they get together again with 300 of them on the other side of the wall where a madman is executing children, they're repeating their mantra of their follower beta male mentality. Officer safety, don't go in there. Officer safety, don't go in there. Officer safety, don't go in there. And so those kids were all executed because literally they are beta male followers who are looking for the person who is in charge. And when I step on the scene, I'm the person in charge. I know more than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I'm the leader. You're the follower. So if you're the activist, You have to figure out what your tagline is, where it puts you above them immediately. So let's listen to this again, and let me show you where I'm going to interject. This cop is going to come in here, and when he comes in, he is taught to come in and take command of the scene. But remember, someone's telling him how to do it. I don't have to be told to take command. I am in command. I am in charge. I am the man on that scene. I am the highest ranking individual in this room. You're here to uphold my rights. You're here to protect my freedoms. Laws are created to uphold my rights. You came in here.
But she figured she'd call the police. How
I
brilliant.
understand. You gotta let me know if you recorded it. If I'm coming in a public place.
No.
And do you hear this guy?
Hey,
I done told you these spots.
Okay, right there. Hey, did you see what he just did? Hey, okay. I'm going to let him know, hey, I have a right to speak. You don't have a right to tell me that you can curb my speech. It's my First Amendment right created by John Locke, recognized by our founding fathers, that it's my right by God to speak. I was born screaming. I could die screaming. I have a right to be heard. Take control of the pig immediately. Remember, this beta male jackboot thug pig is looking for someone to be in charge of him. Remember that and take it.
Go ahead, do something. Do something in front of this guy. Go ahead.
Sir,
I already have the first one on video, dude. So relax.
Sir, just focus on me. If you're in a public place,
Relax, buddy.
You generally assume by the law to have consented to be recorded. So I don't have to tell you if my body camera's on.
Now, piggyback on that. That's right, officer. I'm doing a First Amendment protected activity. You're saying it out loud yourself. Do you hear your words? You are literally telling the citizen that you're upholding my right to film, even going as far as saying you have a body cam on and you don't need his permission. So that means I'm within my rights right here. Jump on everything they say and take a dominant position.
Other place you can be recorded. Now, if there's an issue with the post office, okay, if there's a policy of the post office, and you want them gone, you can ask them to leave.
Really?
Okay. So he actually did chime in and he said, really, at that point, drop your knowledge. Drop it now. You have to take command of these pigs before they put you in torture cuffs. You have to put yourself in a superior position before they start going hands-on and grabbing you. You have to get your stick down. Whatever that shtick is, you hear what mine is. Actually, officer, I'm a constitutional law scholar. I travel the country suing bad pigs. You're welcome to do whatever you'd like, and I'll be listing you on Google #1 on a federal civil rights lawsuit. What do you want to do?
You have asked them to leave. Do you have any legitimate business? Are you transacting?
I do have.
He answered the question.
You have asked them to leave. Do you have any legitimate business? Are you transacting?
I do have legitimate business here. I already did transact. Yes.
Okay. So
we saw him do that, but you don't have to answer to this pig. At this point, instead of answering to him, drop your knowledge. I'm here doing a First Amendment protected activity. There is a very famous poster on the internet called poster number 7. Maybe you've heard of it. Poster number 7 actually states in great detail that I have a right to film in this lobby, and you right now are out of order. You don't give me unlawful commands. I'm your boss. You do what I tell you to do. Take control of that pig. If you don't, you'll see what happens next.
now you're loitering.
No.
Now you're arguing. First Amendment Protection Agency is now arguing, having an argument with the jackboot thug pig. You have lowered yourself by answering his questions. You have lowered yourself by entertaining his bullshit. I'm not going to entertain any of your shit. I'm going to drop knowledge. I'm going to pull my trifold out and say, or I'll pull poster number 7 out of my pocket. I say, I have the literature right here if you need to read it, because this goes around your qualified immunity. The clearly established prong states that you must know which right of mine you're violating and have knowledge that you're violating my rights. And now, because my camera is rolling, here's poster number 7. Here's my camera. Violate my rights on camera, and you're getting sued. Take control of the pig.
Yeah.
No. Nope, I'm here collecting information for a story and to disseminate it to the public.
Okay, well, that's fine, but you have to do it outside.
No, I don't.
Why are you arguing with him? Drop the knowledge that you have. Drop it now. Or
So, man, have you asked him to leave yet?
right there, interject right there. Excuse me, officer, I hate to tell you your job, but let me inform you. She doesn't have a right to ask me to leave a public lobby of the post office. As a matter of fact, here's the receipt that I did transactions here. Furthermore, I invoke my First Amendment right to be press. I'm now recording this as a member of the press. Be very careful what you do. That's how you dominate. I drop that I'm the leader immediately. I drop that I know more than you immediately. I don't get into your games. When he says, has she asked you to leave? I say, what's your name and badge number? I'm always one step ahead of these pigs. Always. They never have me on my back foot. Not ever.
I asked him if he had any other business. He said no.
Okay, so if you don't want him here, you need to ask him to leave.
Leave, sir.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Do you seriously believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now?
Okay. So once again, First Amendment Protection Agency, this was your opportunity. Instead of questioning him, that starts the back and forth where you're arguing with him. You take the superior position. I'm here standing on my rights. This is a First Amendment protected activity. She can't ask me to leave and you can't trespass me. This isn't Walmart. This isn't McDonald's. I have my rights here. I'm standing on them. Be very careful how you proceed because I will file litigation against you. You are violating my rights right now. I don't have to interact with you. So what I'm going to tell you to do is go ahead and have a nice day. You can now exit the post office. You have no business here. You have no jurisdiction here. I'm your boss. I'm telling you, you're relieved. And then you stare right at him. That's how you dominate. That's why you see that so many people get arrested and I don't. You have to take control with your knowledge and your leadership. You're the leader. If you're taking a camera and walking into a place where you know that cops are going to come after you, you're the leader. You made that decision. Then take the lead. Take the power.
All right, she's already asked you to leave. She's an employee of the post office.
No. The box for the answer is about this big. That answer was about that big. It's a yes or no.
Let me put it to you.
Do you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now? Uh-huh.
If you don't leave, it's trespass after notice. You're going to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the first crime?
Okay, so their First Amendment Protection Agency. There's your mistake, dude. I like this guy's channel. I subscribed. I like his channel. I can't remember how I heard about him. Maybe I heard him from Brian from Here's the Deal. I like your channel, bro. I like the huevos. I like that you have some cojones. I like that you're brave. But listen. Let me just give you the two differences here.
No. The box. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Nope, I'm here collecting information for a story and to disseminate it to the public.
You did not invoke your First Amendment right. You didn't invoke your First Amendment right. You didn't say it. You did not say out loud immediately. You didn't say, I invoked my First Amendment right. It is right here on the non-driver card. Step number 1, start filming. And what do you state out loud? I invoke my First Amendment right. This goes around his qualified immunity with the clearly established prong because you have said out loud which right you're using. He no longer can claim qualified immunity. If you sue him and it goes to court and you didn't say out loud, I invoke my First Amendment right, he may still have qualified immunity. Step number 2 says right here, cop approaches you and says any words at all. While filming, you say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. You can do it on an audit. You can do it anytime you want. But this auditor never, ever says the words, I invoke my First Amendment right to be press. And the results of that.
Okay, well, that's fine, but you have to do it outside.
No, I don't.
Educate him now so that he can't invoke qualified immunity for the lawsuit.
So, and have you asked him to leave yet?
Educate. She doesn't have a right to ask me to leave. You've asserted yourself. You put yourself in a leadership position. Lead.
I asked him if he had any other business. He said no.
Okay.
Jump in on that. You don't have a right to ask me to leave. You don't have a right to trespass me. I've invoked my First Amendment right to be press. I am gathering content for a story as a First Amendment auditor in this library now. You are experiencing an audit. Tell them.
So if you don't want him here, you need to ask him to leave.
Correct him. You're incorrect, officer. You're going outside of your qualified immunity. I invoke my First Amendment right. This is now a police protest. Say the words.
Leave, sir.
You tell her you're not qualified to ask me to leave. You're a public servant. I'm the civilian. I'm the member of the public. You are here to uphold my rights. You don't have the right to ask me to leave, especially as the officer in charge. You're actually violating your own oath.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Do you seriously believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now?
Yes, he does.
All right, she's already asked you to leave. She's employed.
But you did not educate First Amendment agency protection. You did not educate. You didn't say the magic words. You didn't say, I'm here doing a First Amendment protected activity as a member of the press. I invoke my First Amendment right. You can't touch me. You didn't say those words. You got to say them.
No. The box for the answer is about this big. That answer was about that big. It's a yes or no.
Let me put it to you.
Do you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now? Uh-huh.
If you don't leave, it's trespass after notice. You're going to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your opportunity to say, actually, now let me educate you. If you look at poster number 7, you can look at it on your phone. I've invoked my First Amendment right to be press. If you violate my rights, you're violating my First Amendment right. You better call your supervisor because you're about to get sued. I mean, I told you guys when I started this video, and it is nothing but true. If you're going to go in front of cops and you're going to challenge cops, you have to have your stick. People will make fun of me and say, oh, Chille's a constitutional law scholar. Do you see how it freezes them? Do you see how they pause? You guys saw me jump out of my car in Wisconsin when the cops pulled me over because they were wasting my time. He said, get back in your car. You're being detained. And I said, no. I'm being detained right here. I'm a constitutional law scholar. I travel the country suing bad pigs. I've agreed to be detained. I'm not going anywhere. My words are what are important here. I've chosen to put myself in a leadership position by taking on cops. Then lead. Tell them what you're doing. Use your rights. They're listed on a piece of paper or on the card. Say them out loud. Or the cops still could have qualified immunity. When you go to federal court, let me help you guys out. When you go to federal court, the judge is against you. The judge is against you. If you haven't invoked your First Amendment right to be press, and he's going to get arrested in a second, then the judge is going to rule against you. And he's going to say the cop has qualified immunity. You didn't say you were a member of the press. You started quizzing him and asking if he believes what he says. You never said that you were invoking your First Amendment. How'd the cop know? Now, you and I, as laypersons, we go, what are you talking about? You're doing a First Amendment protected activity. Of course he's protected. The judge is working against you, bro. The judge does not want to let you win. How do I know? I'm in appeal in 2 federal cases at the circuit court level. The judges ruled against me. And people are like, oh, Chille's bad at court. Am I? Or are the judges working against us? What do you think? Do you think I'm so bad? Or put a 1 in the chat if you know the judges are working against us. Put a 1 in the chat if you know the federal judges are working against us. They absolutely are.
What's the first crime? What's the primary crime?
She just told you to leave.
No, what's the primary crime? Sorry.
Trespass.
No, the primary crime.
All right, so here's the deal.
That's a secondary offense.
Oh, all right. So here's the deal. I would have jumped on that.
Secondary
5
offense.
seconds to leave.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I want.
Going to jail.
Okay. Before Before you speak another word,
No,
I want you to call your
no,
supervisor.
no. I
Okay, but folks, and don't think I'm bashing this guy. First Amendment Protection Agency, First Amendment Protection Agency. I'm not bashing you, bro. Love your work, dude. I've seen several of your videos. Full endorsement. Keep doing what you're doing. Alter your game. Ever so slightly tweak your game to invoke your rights aloud. You have to say, I invoke my First Amendment right to be press. This is a First Amendment protected activity. You have to say the words. The words have to spit out of your mouth. You have to say it. If you don't say it, the judge is going to say, you never told him you were doing a First Amendment protected activity. His qualified immunity is intact. Even though the cop should know it's your First Amendment right to film there, the judge is going to go against you. It's 100%. It's 100% the judge is going to be against you. Let's watch a couple more minutes here.
Before you speak another,
I'm the chief.
so
now
you're the chief.
Yes.
You're the
You need
chief.
to leave.
Okay,
You
well, you
have
call
to leave
call
by-
somebody else. You better call somebody else. Call a judge.
5,
Call a judge.
4, 3, 2, 1. You're under arrest. Anything you do other than what I tell you will be considered resisting arrest. Do you understand?
No,
You wanna know-
not really. I want you to
Okay.
call your supervisor.
Okay. Let's go house.
I want you to call your
That's
supervisor.
fine. You're under arrest. Go ahead, sit this down because I don't want to break it.
Although the chief treated me with complete disrespect and total indifference to my basic God-given rights, I was treated with the utmost respect back at the station. Shout out to shout out to my man, Big Smokey. So apparently one of the jailers down there wasn't such a bad guy. Okay.
Hands behind your back.
There you go. Are you going to call your supervisor? Hello?
You hear the torture cuffs?
I just,
What's your name, sir?
You got some idea on you?
no, I don't.
All right.
Please don't stop the recording. That's going to be a bigger problem if you do.
Okay. So thanks guys so much for your support. Like, subscribe, all these things he's written here. So this, I made this video specifically for you, First Amendment Protection Agency, and other people who will see this. You're also, take the information I'm disseminating. When you're in the rights game, like a lot of people that we know are in the rights game, you have to say the rights. You have to say them out loud. Let me show you what I'm talking about here so you guys can truly understand. Can everybody see that? I want to make sure you guys can all see it. Okay. So this is the clearly established prongs if people don't understand it. Clearly established means at the time of the pig's conduct, the law was sufficiently clear that every reasonable official would understand what he or she is doing is unconstitutional. So if you don't say that I've invoked my First Amendment right to be press, the judge is going to go, well, the cop didn't know. Now, for you and I, because we're involved in this, and then it goes down the line. It starts. Okay, so here's the two prongs. Remember I talked about the two prongs of the clearly established prong? So, sorry about that. Let me get it proper for you. The Supreme Court has set forth two-part analysis. So let me jump in right here real quick, okay? Who's on the Supreme Court? Who's on the Supreme Court? Anybody? Who is it? Do you have anything in common with anybody appointed to the Supreme Court? No. Have you ever heard of those people before? No. Did you vote for the people on the Supreme Court? No. What is the job of the Supreme Court? The only job of the Supreme Court, what is it? It is to ensure the constitutionality of law that is written by the legislators and signed into effect by the president or the governor of a state. So this is super important that everybody understands this. And so I'll take the time to explain it because I understand that I have a lot of knowledge. And so, okay. So let me get on this side. So we see the three branches of government right here. Do you see these? And then right up above it, this is the list. If you have the poster, these are the list of all the Supreme Courts, starting back here with the John Jay Court and then ending all the way down here with the Roberts Court. He's appointed in 2005. So when you talk about a Supreme Court holding, these are the three branches of government, okay? So the congressional branch of government, what they do is they write laws. You follow me? Let me make sure that says right. So this is the congressional branch of government right here. And what they do, whether this be a state congressional branch, so the Republicans and Democrats in Tennessee, or if this is the national representatives at the federal level who will write legislation. That's what they write laws. They're lawmakers. You've heard the term lawmakers. And that's what the congressional branch of government does. Then the president of the United States, if it's federal lawmakers, or the governor of Tennessee, if it's in Tennessee and it's congressional lawmakers there, they then will write laws that the executive, the governor of a state, or the executive, the president of the United States, will then sign into law. And there's a bunch of steps here for Congress. First, it has to be introduced into committee, and then it has to go out into a subcommittee, and then they have to vote on it bigger, and then it goes out to the House, and then it goes to the Senate, and then it goes to the president or the governor of your state. This is how laws are created in the United States of America. The Supreme Court over here, what their job is, the only job that they have, the only job the Supreme Court has, is to make sure that the laws that the legislator wrote and the laws that the president or the governor signed into law, that they match up with your Bill of Rights, that your first 10 amendments and then the other amendments that are passed throughout the history of time, that the laws that the legislator wrote, that the executive signed into effect, that these laws right here don't counter or go against the rule of law. The rule of law is the Constitution. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which are listed here, that is what sets the standard for the rule of law. How do we know this? Because we know this because the 1789 Judiciary Act that was signed into law in 1789 was then found unconstitutional with the 1803 case of Marbury versus Madison. Marbury versus Madison said that the Supreme Court, what they do is they'll determine the constitutionality of law that is determined by the legislators and the president. And this is determined in 1803. Rule of law is established with the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution that says that no laws can come before this over here from back before the Constitution exists, and no laws are above this. Your constitutional rights are the metric standard for the rule of law. You understand? So now you understand. So their entire job is to look at the constitutionality of law and determine if it violates the founding documentation. And they took that power in the 1803 case of Marbury versus Madison. Okay? So I just want to make sure, and this poster I give away for free if you order anything off my website. Print this sucker out, put it on your wall. People will play with it forever. So now that you understand what the Supreme Court's functionality is, what have they done? What have they done? What is the history of the Supreme Court? What have they done to us? The Supreme Court, a bunch of 9 appointed monarchs who have nothing in common with you and I, nothing. What do you have in common with Elena Kagan? What do you have in common with Clarence Thomas? Nothing. What do you have in common with John Roberts? Nothing. What do you have in common with Samuel Alito? Nothing. You have nothing in common with any of these people. They've been appointed to a government position for their entire life with a pension that pays 100% of their salary when they were a Supreme Court justice. So do you think that when you appoint somebody to a government position for life, that they could become corrupted? They can never be fired. There's no ethics committee or panel for Supreme Court justices. So if you appoint somebody for life, put a 1 in the chat. If you appoint somebody to a government position for life, if that could have some problems in it. Put a 1 in the chat if nobody, no human being alive, should be appointed to any government position for life. If you agree with that, I don't care if it's a representative, if it's a judge, no person should ever be appointed for life to any position in government. And what has been the effect of appointing Supreme Court justices for the rest of their lives? It has been an absolute tyrannical police state, prison state, death state ever since it started. So how do I know that that is 100% true? Well, let me show you. Allow me to show you. So I'm going to show you guys an up close here version of this. Okay, let me see what you guys can see. Okay, and now let me zoom in on this bad chicken. So their job is to uphold the constitutionality of law. Okay, so let me see what you guys can see here. Okay, cool. So what happens? I'm going to zoom back in over here. Terry versus Ohio passes in 1968. What three things does this do? What are the three things that Terry versus Ohio does? It creates reasonable articulable suspicion. Is reasonable articulable suspicion part of our Constitution? No, it's not. What is our Constitution? The Constitution says that the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Okay, so then what does Terry do? What does Terry versus Ohio do? Terry versus Ohio allows the police to detain you. Oh, detained. What does detainment mean? Detainment means that they'll put you in torture cuffs, in shackles like you're a slave, throw you on the ground, and you enter a POW style of arrest. But that's not what the Fourth Amendment says. The Fourth Amendment says there'll be no unreasonable seizures without probable cause. Well, then what does Terry versus Ohio do? It goes against the Fourth Amendment. So who did that to us? The Supreme Court, scholar. The Earl Warren Court did this to us. So then how bad does it get? How bad does it get? So what three things does it do? What three things specifically does Terry versus Ohio do? It creates the officer safety policy that the cops can do anything they want to you if it's in the name of officer safety. It creates this magical detainment thing where you can be detained, but you're not seized. You can be put in torture cuffs, thrown on the ground, put in a cell in the back of a car, but you're not detained yet. Who did that? Hugo Black, lifetime member of the KKK, the lead inquisitor in the Terry versus Ohio oral arguments in 1967. It creates officer safety. It creates detainment, and it creates reasonable, articulable suspicion. Everybody says, what's your RAS? What's your reasonable, articulable suspicion? It's a made-up bullshit policy by the Supreme Court that is not law, that was never legislated by Congress and signed into law by the executive to be reviewed by the Supreme Court. That is not what happened. 9 appointed people who have nothing to do with you and I. You ever heard of John Roberts? Did you ever heard of Kenita Brown? You ever heard of her? I'd never heard of her. And then all of a sudden she's on the Supreme Court. How come? She was picked from high school. They had Kenita Brown tagged to be on the Supreme Court all the way since high school. Not for civil liberties, for big business. She'll toe the line. So once again, what three things does Terry versus Ohio do? Officer safety, detainment, reasonable articulable suspicion. All three of those are not in the Constitution. They are not constitutional. They do not live in our Bill of Rights. They were created by 9 monarchs appointed. What do you know about John Roberts, the chief executive of the Supreme Court now? What do you know about him? You know nothing. How come he got appointed to the Supreme Court? How did he get in there? The elitists who tagged him from high school then put him through a series of where they work as a clerk for this judge, they work as a clerk for that judge, and then they mold them to be statists, to make holdings that only will benefit big business. All the Supreme Court justices, right now there's a big Second Amendment fight going on. It's all a distraction. Everything the Supreme Court does is to make sure that big business gets the benefit and the little man gets screwed. Why do we keep appointing Supreme Court justices? How come that is? Because John Jay in Federalist number 3 would write in his Federalist Papers, if we appoint the right men in the right places. And that's exactly what they've done. Let's keep going a little bit so I can show you the damage that Terry. So we have the 3 policies, right? Put them in the comment section. What are the 3 policies that the Supreme Court say? Not law, not written by Congress, not signed by the executive, and then the constitutionality determined by the Supreme Court. This was judicial activism. They created the Terry versus Ohio policy at the Supreme Court level. It was never legislated through Congress and then signed into law by the executive. That never happened. That never happened. So let's go back to the 3 policies, because now I'm going to show you. I have this same timeline on my wall here. I'm about to teach this again. However, now let me show you those 3 policies put into effect. Officer safety, detainment, reasonable suspicion. Those 3 policies now trump all of your rights. And how do I know that's true? How do you know that's true? How do you know I'm not lying to you? Well, after we have the policy of officer safety in 1977, they passed Pennsylvania versus Mims, which says what? You have to get out of the car when ordered for what? Officer safety. You have to get out of the car for officer safety. Pennsylvania versus Mims could not exist without the jurisprudence of Terry versus Ohio. So then up here, it says 1969, Spinelli-Aguilar. Spinelli-Aguilar was for confidential informants. And what did Spinelli-Aguilar say in 1969? It said that when a confidential informant gives you information as a copper, you have to investigate both the information you got and the confidential informant, because you have to make sure that one guy's not reporting another guy because he's his competition in business. One drug dealer will say another drug dealer on 4th Avenue is dealing drugs, so that you'll arrest the guy on 4th so the guy on 5th can own the whole block. So that's the standard. It's called the 2-prong effect of confidential informants. Well, in the 1983 case of Illinois versus Gates, the argument done by the lawyer said, wait a minute. If we have reasonable articulable suspicion from Terry versus Ohio, then Spinelli versus Aguilar is dead. All the cop needs, if a cop tells me that the guy on 4th is a drug dealer, all I need is reasonable suspicion. Spinelli-Aguilar is now overruled, and the new holding is that if you get any information from any confidential informant, that creates reasonable articulable suspicion. Well, then that's it, right? No. The 1981 case of Cortez versus United States expands on which policy? Reasonable articulable suspicion. This is at the border where Cortez is taking illegal immigrants across the border, but they don't have reasonable articulable suspicion. There's no reasonable articulable suspicion. There's no probable cause. They search him anyway. They find illegal immigrants in the floorboard of his car. They arrest him. He then sues, and it goes all the way to the Supreme Court to Cortez versus United States. What does Cortez do? Cortez will now expand reasonable articulable suspicion to now equate to you take the totality circumstances of the scene to create reasonable articulable suspicion. How does that apply to you? You're driving down the road at 2:00 in the morning. The cops pull you over and you say, hey, I haven't broken any laws. And the cop says, well, it's late at night, 2:00 in the morning. This is a high crime area and you're driving a red car. What? You don't know any better because you never saw any of my lectures, and you're like, well, let me give you my license. Where are you heading? Oh, I'm just going over to my girlfriend's house. You invoke your 5th Amendment right to remain silent. You pull your trifold out. So Cortez expands reasonable articulable suspicion to being the totality circumstances of the scene. And this is done by who? The 9 unappointed monarchs that are appointed at the Supreme Court that you never voted for. So does it get worse? Yes, it gets much worse. It gets so much worse. The 1985 case of Tennessee versus Garner is based on the 1974 murder of Eugene Garner, a 14-year-old boy who had went into his neighbor's house and took $10 off their coffee table and ran back out the door. So Tennessee versus Garner, that happens in 74, finally gets to the Supreme Court, and that judge right there behind him, this face right here, that's named Harry Blackman. He's going to write in the holding that so let me give you the background of Tennessee versus Garner so you know what happened. In Tennessee versus Garner, they shoot you. The cop shows up after Eugene Gardner has stolen $10. He sees him in the backyard. So the cop approaches him and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Eugene Gardner turns around and jumps a fence and runs away. And as he's jumping the fence, as he's up on top of the fence, that copper shoots him square in the back of the head. Bullet goes in the back of the head, comes out the front. The cop had hollow tip point bullets in his gun. So then the bullet went in the back of the kid's head. It then expanded in 4 ways and blew the kid's face off. It goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, well, is it legal to shoot someone when they run away? The state has invoked the common law, the fleeing felon doctrine from common law. The fleeing felon doctrine, which is written into the 1952 Model Penal Code, which is written by who? Who wrote the Model Penal Code? This guy right here. This guy, this son of a bitch right here, Harry Blackman. He wrote the Model Penal Code. He wrote the Model Penal Code from 1952 to 1962 here. Okay? The Model Penal Code uses the fleeing fugitive doctrine. That if a fugitive of the law is fleeing from a cop, then you can shoot and you can kill that fleeing felon. This is common law. Well, in 1985, when it goes to the Supreme Court says, well, you know what? I guess Harry Blackman is going to reverse himself and say that you cannot shoot someone who's running away from you. It is unconstitutional for you to shoot someone. And this is the holding, by the way. For you to shoot somebody who is fleeing from you, unless what? Unless it's in the name of officer safety. You can't make this shit up. This is the jurisprudence of Terry versus Ohio, that the cops cannot shoot a fleeing felon unless it's in the name of officer safety, and then they can. So Tennessee versus Garner is a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. It doesn't matter if they'd had the case at all, other than Eugene Gardner was then validated. His parents, I don't know if they got a payoff or not. But so you think from here, it couldn't get any worse, right? You can shoot people running away if it's in the name of officer safety, right? It gets worse. It gets a lot worse. It gets so fucking worse. You can't even imagine. So then they go, well, what about Wilson versus Arkansas? Tennessee versus Garner uses the jurisprudence of Terry versus Ohio. It wouldn't exist without Terry. It would be gone. The 1995 case of Wilson versus Arkansas says that cops cannot no-knock raid your home and kill you. Wilson, a black man, is no-knock raided. And so when it goes to the Supreme Court, they say, well, you can't no-knock raid people. In the United States of America, you can't no-knock raid people. Unless it's in the name of officer safety, and then you can no-knock raid people. The cops can get... So this happened to me in 2002. I was no-knock raided by a SWAT team. Why was I no-knock raided? Because when they were doing surveillance on me, they followed me to MMA practice at Legends Gym, where I fought MMA with a bunch of dudes. They followed me for 2 weeks. They showed me the photos of me fighting MMA against guys who were fighting in Strikeforce and for the UFC. So when they got a warrant from my house using what? What did they use? They used Illinois versus Gates. A confidential informant told him I was a drug dealer. It wasn't true. But it doesn't matter. They followed me. I drove a Porsche. I didn't go to a job. I was an actor. So they were like, he doesn't go to a job. He drives a Porsche. He lives on Sunset Plaza. He must be a drug dealer. Using Illinois versus Gates. They didn't interview the confidential informant who was the ex-husband of the woman I was dating. No. They instead got a warrant And then because they followed me to MMA practice, they no-knock raided me using the Wilson versus Arkansas holding. That cops cannot no-knock raid you unless, of course, it's in the name of officer safety. So let me ask you a question. How many no-knock raids are there a year? How many are there? Hundreds of thousands of no-knock raids in America a year. How do they no-knock raid your house? Wilson versus Arkansas, an extension of Terry versus Ohio. There would be no no-knock raids. I was no-knock raided. Do you get it? If you've never been no-knock raided, you don't understand me. You couldn't understand me. They no-knock raided me twice in the same month. The first time to get evidence, the second time to arrest me. They had nothing. They had nothing. They had a confidential informant statement and no evidence. And they no-knock raided me. That's got to be it, right? It couldn't get worse. There's not more cases based off Terry versus Ohio, is there? Actually, there are. Really? What are they? Well, let's take a look. Let's go to DUI checkpoints in America. The 1990 case of Michigan State Police versus SITS, when SITS sued for a DUI checkpoint, it's 1991, I think it is. Is it 1990 or 91? Anyway, the point is SITS versus Michigan State Police. What are the three tenets of Terry versus Ohio? Number one, officer safety. Number two, detainment. Number three, reasonable articulable suspicion. Using reasonable articulable suspicion, SITS versus Michigan State Police, the police say, well, with all the DUI wrecks and all the people dying from DUIs, I'm reasonably suspicious that someone driving down this road is drunk. Using what? Terry versus Ohio. So then what happens? They then green stamp DUI checkpoints across America using the 1990 case of SITS versus Michigan State Police. The jurisprudence, the way they do it, is what case does it hinge off of? Terry versus Ohio. There you go. It couldn't get worse, could it? It couldn't get worse. Absolutely. In 1989, Graham versus Connor. What are the three tenets of Terry versus Ohio? Number one, officer safety. What does the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor do? It creates the use of force continuum inside of police departments. What does that mean exactly? That means that they create a term at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is very good at changing the meaning of words. You're detained, you're not seized. Detainment and seized are different. So you can be detained in torture cuffs, put in a cage, but you're not really seized. Okay. So in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, the Supreme Court says, well, the Fourth Amendment says what? It's based on what? Reasonableness. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You have to understand the Supreme Court is based on reasonableness. To be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Everything is based on reasonableness, okay? So when we get to the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, this is going to be based on what? Objective reasonableness. Use of force against you on any scene will be determined by the objectively reasonable officer on the scene. Who determines the amount of force to be used on you? The objectively reasonable officer on the scene. I'm sorry, excuse me. What does that mean exactly? That means that the cop on the scene will determine whether or not it's reasonable to use that amount of force on you. So what exactly does that mean? How does that affect me? And what does that mean? What does objective reasonableness truly mean? What does that mean as far as like me getting hurt by cops? What does that mean? What's the actual facts understanding what that means? Well, let me show you.
Explain to me Graham versus Connor.
Graham versus Connor, the 1989 case that determines how much force can be used on you.
The Supreme Court justices invented a term to circumvent Graham's rights.
The Supreme Court justices invented a term. What'd I tell you?
The objective reasonableness of police on the scene determines how badly you could be hurt during this interaction.
The objective reasonableness, what they deem to be reasonable, what these two cops right here.
Of police on the scene determines how badly you could be hurt during this interaction.
The officer's actions are objectively reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances confronting them.
In light of the facts and circumstances that are confronting him. Do you follow what I'm saying? So listen to what he says.
Of police on the scene determines how badly you could be hurt during this interaction.
The officer's actions are objectively reasonable in light of the facts and circumstances confronting them.
Use of force must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on scene.
Listen to that again. This is the actual holding from the Supreme Court.
Use of force must be
judged by who?
Judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on scene.
From the reasonable officer on the scene.
The court said we must embody an...
The court said, listen to these words very carefully. We must embody for who? What is their job? To uphold our rights. But what does the Supreme Court say?
Allowance for the fact that...
On scene.
The court said we must embody an allowance for the fact that police officers are often forced to make split-second decisions about the amount of force necessary in a particular situation.
Perspective of a reasonable officer on scene.
The court said we must embody an allowance for the fact that police officers are often forced to make split-second decisions about the amount of force necessary in a particular situation.
The Supreme Court said we must embody an allowance. We must give the cops a caveat to your rights because they're often forced to make split-second decisions. In 1984? Sure. 2023, you don't got to make a split-second decision. You can fall back. Fall back. I got him. Facial recognition. We got him. That guy's acting crazy. Fall back. Put your shield up. Film him. Let him do what he's going to do. You'll get him later. In 1984, though, the judges embodied an allowance for police because they have to make split-second decisions. What is the functionality of the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court's functionality is not to embody an allowance for cops who often have to make split-second decisions. That's not what the functionality of the Supreme Court is. The functionality of the Supreme Court is to determine the constitutionality of law written by Congress and signed into law by the president. The Supreme Court was never supposed to allow an embodiment for cops. The Supreme Court was never supposed to circumvent our Fourth Amendment so that for officer safety, these caveats are put into your Fourth Amendment right. They were only put in for blacks. The caveat, and oh, by the way, DeThorne Graham was a black man. John Terry was a black man. Wilson versus Arkansas was a black man. Tennessee versus Garner was a black man. Wren versus United States, 1996, Michael Wren was a black man. Hodis versus House, 2019, House was a black man. Cortez versus United States, Cortez was a Mexican. Are you starting to see a theme here? Graham versus Connor, the use of force, we must allow an embodiment for police because they have to make split-second decisions. DeThorne Graham was a black man. Starting to see something here? Starting to see a pattern? Are we starting to see a pattern?
The severity of the crime and threat posed by suspects are factors.
Okay, so remember what we're talking about here. We're talking about objective reasonableness, what the cop believes in his mind. So ready for this? Listen very carefully.
Second decisions about the amount of force necessary in a particular situation.
The severity of the crime and threat posed by suspects are factors.
What does that mean exactly? What do you mean? What do you mean? The threat assessment and the severity of the crime? Okay, so let's break that down. What is the threat assessment? What the cop believes in his mind. The severity of the crime, what the cop believes in his mind, the crime you just did. I call 911 and I say, hey, the guy over in 4726, he murdered his wife and stuffed her in a closet. She's dead. He's in there right now. He's in there right now. He murdered his wife and he stuffed her in a closet and he's threatening to kill his daughter right now. Surely the cops aren't going to go over there and take that information as being probable cause, are they? Listen to it again. Listen to it again.
The severity of the crime and threat posed by suspects are factors.
The severity of the crime and the threat posed by suspects are factors. If you give a call and say, yeah, the guy in 4274 killed his wife and stuffed her in a closet, the severity of the crime is murder and the risk of the suspect is murder. So now they're doing a felony stop because someone called 911 and said you were bad. What's a felony stop? Well, you know what a felony stop is.
Now, the Graham had done nothing wrong. He had his bones broken because
I was suspicious. My suspicion is enough to detain you. Because of Graham and objective reasonableness, we are afraid for our lives.
That's where you guys have heard the I'm afraid for my life.
Posed by suspects are factors.
now, the Graham had done nothing wrong.
The potential danger from the suspect and the severity of the crime that the officer holds in his mind are factors. Now wait for this.
He had his bones broken because
I was suspicious. My suspicion is enough to detain you. Because of Graham and objective reasonableness, we are afraid for our lives.
Okay, that's it. So if the cops detain you using a Terry stop and they objectively in their mind believe you're a murderer, the amount of force used on you is respective to their belief in their mind. Why do you think you're seeing people die all the time? I'm afraid for my life comes from what? Terry versus Ohio, extended into the 1989 holding of Graham versus Connor. Graham versus Connor gives police the right to make split-second decisions. In the 80s, that was true. It's not so true anymore, is it? You don't need to make a split-second decision. I was afraid he was going to run off. Let him. Let him. Now check all the ring cameras in the area. Put his face out on social media. We'll get him. You don't need to shoot him. I'll let this finish.
So you're saying the use of force is determined by the reasonable officer on the scene?
exactly. This case puts to rest all the bitching and moaning people have getting hurt by the police. I am the law. I can put my hands on you whenever I want. Whatever happens, happens.
Jeez, thank you.
Jeff Lloyd. For walking in and out of a Quick Mart, DeThorne Graham is Terry stopped in 1984. Cop Connor beat DeThorne Graham so badly that Graham sued Connor after he broke his foot, broke his ribs, and cracked his head open. What is objective reasonableness? A standardized use of force policy allowing cops to beat or kill you based on their objective reasonableness of the scene. Here is the tyrannical ruling. Use of force is determined by the reasonable officer on the scene. And here's the DeThorne Graham story, 1984.
Hey there! Saw you run into that convenience store and run right back out again. What are you up to, boy?
Line was too long. I'm diabetic. I need sugar.
DeThorne Graham needed some sugar. He ran into a Quickie Mart. The line was 10 people long. He ran back out. His friend Childress was driving. I'm sorry, that's from Terry versus Ohio. I can't remember the friend's name off the top of my head. But the friend who was driving the car explained to the cops he was having a diabetic seizure and that he had his diabetic card in his back pocket.
Why you inform me? Why? Suspicion, boy. Suspicion. Terry versus Ohio gives us the right to investigate anyone we're suspicious of. And that's you. Please, sir, please. I need sugar. I could die. I need sugar. I could die.
You'll live. You know how I know? This is a historic case from 1989. Graham v. Connor. The Supreme Court rules in favor of objective reasonableness, where cops can use force in this case and all cases.
It applies to all of
Force
us.
must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene. And that's me. I'm that officer.
Stay down! He seems pretty fucking reasonable, doesn't he? You got something to say, boy? That's right, face down.
Objective reasonableness is a lie. Police cannot be objective in a situation they're the subjects in. Use of this racist ruling, cops are murdering people on camera and then claiming I was in fear for my life.
You know what sucks as a conservative Republican? Learning that all the cases, the Supreme Court cases, that took away our constitutional rights, the case was lost by a black man.
The Supreme Court has never helped me.
If you don't know the history, then you don't know that the Supreme Court in this country has been racist.
So are you guys starting to get it? Are you starting to understand what I'm putting down over here, Brown? Are you starting to see it? So surely Terry versus Ohio couldn't get worse, could it? It couldn't get worse. I mean, I showed you that cops can say they're in fear for their life using Graham, which invokes Terry and officer safety being paramount. I showed you that cops could no-knock raid your house in the name of officer safety. I showed you that cops aren't allowed to shoot you as you run away unless, of course, it's in the name of officer safety. So it couldn't get worse, right? Who thinks it could get worse? Who thinks it could get worse? Who thinks it could get worse? I know for a fact it can get worse. So let me show you. So we're at the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, and now let's get into it a little bit further. So these cases are extensions of Terry versus Ohio. So the 1996 case of Wren versus United States, the jurisprudence is based on what? Terry versus Ohio. And what does the Wren case of 1996 say? It says that if a cop sees your car and is suspicious of your car, he can pull you over on a pretextual stop. Pretext meaning that I believe this car could be dealing drugs, you're in a high crime area. In other words, cops can pull you over just based on looking at your car and saying, I'm suspicious of that car. And they can just pull you over for no reason. That's Wren. The 2013 case of Florida versus Harris, you guys saw me read the Fourth Amendment earlier. What does that say? 2013 Florida versus Harris is based on which jurisprudence? Which case is it only possible through? Florida versus Harris can't exist without which case? Terry versus Ohio. What does the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris say? That if a dog barks at your car and it's a drug detection dog, that is probable cause. Well, why does that matter? How come that matters? Why is a dog barking at my car? Why does that matter? Well, it says here, no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Supported by oath or affirmation by the canine handler. So the canine handler can say, I swear the dog is trained to detect drugs and it barked. Canine dogs have been proven to be faulty in more than 50% of cases. So surely it couldn't get worse, could it? There's not more cases on here, are there? The 2001 case of Atwater versus City of Lago Vista, a Fourth Amendment case that says that you can be arrested for any infraction of the law, and it is not a violation of your Fourth Amendment of an unreasonable seizure. Terry versus Ohio is the most destructive, anti-constitutional, created by appointed monarchs at the Supreme Court to be able to grab black people. I'm so sorry. I forgot to point out the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris is a black guy. The 1996 case of Wren versus United States, Michael Wren is a black guy. The 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, DeThorne Graham is a black man. The 1980 case of Johnson versus Glick, Johnson is a black man. The 1977 case of Pennsylvania versus Mims, Mims is a black man. The 1983 case of Illinois versus Gates, Gates is a black man. The 1985 case of Tennessee versus Garner, Garner was murdered, a black man, the cop. The 1995 case of Wilson versus Arkansas, Wilson is a black man. There's no such thing as institutional racism in America. You sure? Have you really looked into it? I can keep going. I can keep going. I mean, there's a lot more here. There's a lot more here. The 1944 case of Korematsu versus United States, Korematsu was a Japanese guy. The 1927 case of Lum versus Rice, Rice was a China person. The 1911 Sullivan Act, which creates that you have to get a permit for guns, was passed by the governor of New York, Tim Sullivan, so that blacks wouldn't have guns in New York. The 1927 case of Buck versus Bell, which creates legal sterilization within prisons, it was because the woman who was being sterilized was sleeping with a black man. The 1900 case of Bad Elk versus United States is against Native Americans. It then reneges on our treaties and says that we can prosecute Native Americans in the United States. We reneged on our treaty. The 1883 case of Pace versus Alabama criminalizes interracial marriage. Orlando Pace was a black man. The 1896 case of Plessy versus Ferguson, Plessy was a black man. The 1904 case of Giles versus Teasley, the 1903 case of Giles versus Harris, Giles is how you say his name, was a black man. The 1926 case of Corrigan versus Buckley creates what they call racial restrictive covenants. It's going to be overruled in the case called Shelley versus Kramer that will then end racial restrictive covenants. But this is where you can't sell your home to a black person. And they made it a criminal offense until Shelley versus Kramer in 1948. And then after that, what they did was that if you sold your house to a black person, the other people on your block could sue you for lowering their property value. Right after Shelley versus Kramer, what happens? This thing called what? Redlining. What is redlining? That is where government officials will put a red line around specific areas that they will not invest in the public parks or in that area. And what are those areas? Those areas are where black people live. Look, you guys know my skin is pasty white. You know my name is Jose Maria DeCastro and that I'm Colombian. You know this about me. You think I enjoy pointing out the institutional racism of America? I don't. The Supreme Court is our problem, scholar. The Supreme Court is our problem. I hate cops because they enforce or take what the Supreme Court has done and they expand on it. I can keep going on this. There's so many cases on here. There's so many cases. This is one of the only tyrannical cases I can't find. I believe their name, it was Diane Kerr. Her name was Diane Kerr. So in the 1963 case, so I'm going to give you guys a little history lesson right here real quick. The 1963 case of Kerr versus California. It's one of the big five cases that I talk about all the time. So in Kerr versus California, the case goes to the Supreme Court after Diana Kerr goes home to her apartment. And while she's there, she's been being tailed by narcotics officers. She has marijuana. Oh, I said the word. My video is going to be demonetized and my video is going to be hammered because I said the word Mary Jane. You're not allowed to say Mary Jane on YouTube or they'll demonetize and devalue your video. So Diana Kerr is a Mary Jane distributor. And so when the cops, so there's so much here. If I give you just the Cliff Notes version, you won't really understand the case. So what's going on in the United States of America? The Boggs Act has been passed. So what is the Boggs Act? So in 1952, the Boggs Act is passed. And what does the Boggs Act exactly do? It makes it so that if you have a single JOINT, that you go to jail for 10 years for a single JOINT. If they find any Mary Jane on you at all, it's a 10-year automatic prison sentence. And so why is that though? We know from history and Willie Nelson that involving yourself with Mary doesn't make you some homicidal axe murderer. So why would you create the Boggs Act that locks people away in prison for 10 years for having anything to do with Mary J? This goes back to the breakup of Standard Oil in 1911. So when Standard Oil is broken up, there is this new organization that's called the League of Nations. So why is the League of Nations happening? Remember, you're going to have World War I, 1914 to 1918. And so in response to that, the League of Nations is created, I think, shortly after that. But the League of Nations is going to have a huge hand in the breakup of Standard Oil in 1911. Why is that? Because what's going on around the world are people are trying to find alternatives to fossil fuels. And so they're using, in India, they're using this product called hemp. Hemp grows in one summer like a gigantic rainforest, and then you can chop it all down. The next summer, you can have a hemp field and have another gigantic rainforest. What does hemp do exactly? Hemp, as you know, for people who are epileptic, it is a pharmaceutical agent that can cure your epilepsy or at least put it on standby. And then secondly, what hemp is it's an energy source. So when Standard Oil is broken up in 1911, then the subsidiaries of Standard Oil, 7 different families, they then push to pass the 1914 Harrison Act. The 1914 Harrison Act is what makes you get a prescription for what? For your Mary Jane products. So now what's going on in America is hemp is extraordinarily popular. And so this guy right here, Harry Anslinger, he's the head of the new Federal Narcotics Agency. He's been a pig his whole life, but actually he's working for his father-in-law, this guy above him, who's the Secretary of Treasury for FDR. He's working for the guy on his left named DuPont. He's working for the guy on his right named William Randolph Hearst, who owns the newspaper industry. He's working for Rockefeller down there, the guy who owns Standard Oil, and he's working down here. This guy is kind of irrelevant for this story. So this is what Harry Anslinger, this is who he's working for. If you Google Harry Anslinger, you'll see that he died with a net worth of 19 million. He's now worth over 100 million. How do you do that as the salary of a cop? Well, he was involved with Standard Oil and the subsidiary families. So the 1914 Harrison Act is going to make it so you have to get a prescription for your Mary Jane products. So then in 1937, you get the Mary Jane Tax Act. Well, why is the Mary Jane Tax Act passed? It's passed by the Secretary of by the Secretary of Treasury, who's working for FDR in 1937. He passes it in early 1937, and then he dies later in 1937. So the Mary Jane Tax Act, if you don't have a tax exempt receipt to be able to sell Mary Jane, well, then you're not going to be able to sell Mary Jane. So how many people do they give a tax exemption to be able to grow and sell Mary Jane? 0 people. Why are they doing that? Because they want to shut down the hemp industry, because they don't want the Standard Oil people who have bought up the Standard Oil stock for them to be challenged with this new energy called hemp. Okay, so now you understand a little bit of the backlog. Forgive me if it took a little time. You understand why the 1914 Harrison Act was created, and you understand why the 1937 Mary Jane Tax Act is created, but they can't stop the Mary Jane. They can't stop it. It's extraordinarily popular, and people love the Mary Jane. They really don't want to lose their Mary Jane. So what happens? So Harry Anslinger then creates a bunch of movies. One, what was it called? What was that famous movie they created in 1938 to scare you straight? What is it? What was that called? It's called, someone will get it. It's a very popular film created so that you would be deathly afraid of Mary Jane. They actually touted that Mary Jane will turn you into an axe murderer. It could turn you comatose with one puff. That's what they're selling. That's what Congress is selling. To pass the Mary Jane Tax Act, you have Harry Anslinger go on the congressional floor, and he makes two statements that I've memorized. Number one, he says that any involvement with Mary Jane will make darkies think that they're as good as whites. That's what he says. And then he makes another statement that says, if you give a 14-year-old girl Mary Jane, she's going to get herpes and hepatitis from black eyes. That's what he says on the Congress floor. And they pass it, and they go, yes, 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 we can pass the Mary Jane Tax Act right now. Forgive me for the slight interruption. I wanted to see something. So Mary Jane Tax Act passed. And so, but they can't slow down how popular Mary Jane is. Anybody get the name of that movie that they made? I was trying to find the name of that movie is what I was just looking up. The Reefer Madness. There it is. They create a movie called Reefer Madness that teaches you and your children. If you go watch the movie, it shows a guy do his Mary Jane, and then he kills everybody and jumps out of the window. And they tell you that that's what will happen to you if you involve yourself with Mary Jane. They create this giant scare thing. So what happens in the cities? What happens in America? Then you get roving bands of young white men that do what? They go around to black neighborhoods. If they smell Mary Jane, they then go in and beat the holy dog hell out of the black people or Mexicans, often will even lynch them. These are facts of history. You can look this stuff up yourself. Okay, it gets worse. So Harry Anslinger has created the movie Reefer Madness. There's several movies created after it. And then after that, because he can't get the curb of it down, they passed the 1952 Boggs Act. And they go, man, the Boggs Act says that if you get caught with Mary Jane, it is automatically 10 years in prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Arrest him and put him in jail. That's it, right? No. You guys have heard of this organization called the World Health Organization? You guys ever heard of that before? So what people don't know about Harry Anslinger is that Harry Anslinger served in both World War I and World War II. Harry Anslinger entered the war in 1914, and he went to The Hague over in the Netherlands. Well, in 1914, when he was 18 years old, 19 years old, and he went into the military, when he went over to The Hague in the Netherlands, he met this group of people who were starting this new organization. What do you think the name of it was? The World Health Organization. Yeah. He's stationed overseas at The Hague. He serves his term. He works as a double agent. He learns German, and he works as a spy for the United States of America. Harry Anslinger was a very savvy guy. Harry Anslinger, he then works abroad as an international police officer trying to stop narcotics smugglers around the world. He works for 10 years in the Caribbean. Harry Anslinger is a very successful super cop now. So when he gets back to America, he's almost immediately appointed to the FNA, the Federal Narcotics Agency. I believe I have it on this one somewhere here. Anyway, point is, so Harry Anslinger does that. So then, as you guys know, we go to war again in World War II, 1939 to 1945. and World War II is going to be right here, 1939 to 1940. Well, guess what? Harry Anslinger is involved in World War II. Yeah. So he goes to World War II, and who does he connect with? He connects with those people over there at The Hague called the World Health Organization. So now Harry Anslinger has been crusading, passing the 1937 Mary Jane Tax Act. Then he can't get rid of hemp. He's really trying to get rid of hemp because he works for the newspaper companies for the paper. Remember, hemp can be torn down and rebuilt in the summer. So that's going to supply all the newspaper companies with paper. However, William Randolph Hearst has invested millions of dollars in logging wood from around the world. He's already bought like 100 million quarts of wood that are coming over. So Harry Anslinger's job is to end the hemp business. But he's not having a lot of success because people really love Mary Jane. They call it marijuana so that it matches Mexican, because they're using race as a way to say that marijuana is the reason why your daughter is sleeping with Mexicans and blacks. It's always been about sex with white women. Always. Okay, so now we get the Boggs Act in 1952. The Boggs Act says that you go to prison immediately. 10 years, you get caught with Mary Jane. So then he's not having a lot of success. So in 1961, in New York City, Harry Anslinger throws a convention. What's the convention called? The Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs. That's what it's called. And then he invites a bunch of people. Who does he invite? He invites all those filmmakers from Reefer Madness and all those people that he contracted to make propaganda videos against Mary Jane all through the 1930s and the 1940s. You guys can get on my website on Delete Laws, the LaGuardia Report. What's the LaGuardia Report? This is a 5-year study done shortly after the Marijuana Tax Act, led by who? The governor of New York, LaGuardia. You've heard of LaGuardia Airport. He writes a commission called the LaGuardia Commission. It's available on my website for free, where he completely debunks all those 1930s movies that say if you smoke Mary Jane, you'll immediately become an axe murderer. He debunks all those movies, LaGuardia does, in his thesis called the LaGuardia Report, which you can get on Delete Laws. So he does that. I think it's 1945, 1946, somewhere in there, right after World War II comes to an end. So Harry Anslinger, because of the pushback from LaGuardia and because the public, more than 50%, is still relating to and being willing to involve themselves with Mary, he's like, you know what? We got to get rid of this plant. Because why? It takes on the pharmaceutical industry. As you know, today, hemp is used for epileptics all over the world. And number 2, for the newspaper, for the paper, and number 3, for energy, because the Indians over in India are still using hemp as an energy source instead of fossil fuels. The League of Nations becomes involved right after or right before World War I. Who's the League of Nations called today? NATO. Yeah. And there's a really, I don't want to get you distracted. So in 1961, Harry Anslinger holds the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs in New York City. And what does he do? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. Back then in 60, you had what's called a Sears card, S-E-A-R-S, a Sears card. If you never heard of a Sears card, it's because you're too young. So what he does is he invites who? His friends, these group that he met in 1914 that started this new organization called the WHO. Yeah, he invites them. He invites all the filmmakers who made all those snuff films about Mary Jane in the 30s. And then at the Single Convention on Narcotics Drugs, you have the representative from the World Health Organization get up there in front of the podium on the lectern and say that if you involve yourself with Mary Jane, you could become comatose or you might become an axe murderer right away. You might kill a bunch of people. What happens from there? The 1963 case of Kerr versus California. After Harry Anslinger had convinced the general public, or at least those who would be outspoken against Mary Jane, now there's a new level of fervor. There's a new level of nuance that's been created against Mary Jane. And so then when the cops are tailing Diana Kerr and she's accused of being a Mary Jane dealer, they follow her to her house, to her apartment. The cop goes to her apartment complex manager and says, hey, can you give me the key to the Kerr's place? And the manager says, here you go, copper. Here's the key. Then they enter into Diana Kerr's house with no warrant. No warrant. So it goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, well, we have the 1961 case of Mapp versus Ohio. So they go into Diana Kerr's apartment, they pull back a sheet from the table, and there is a brick of Mary Jane. This case goes all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court looks at it and they say, well, the 1961 case of Mapp versus Ohio creates fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. You entered into the Kerr's house without a warrant. You entered into the Kerr's house without permission. You found evidence without a warrant in a place that you didn't have permission to be. So that naturally would be fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, right? Wrong. We're talking about the Supreme Court here, the people who work against our rights. 1963, they then create the knock and announce rule. The police, and this is an extension of Brinegar versus United States in 1949. The jurisprudence of Kerr versus California is based on Brinegar. What does Brinegar say? Brinegar says that if a man of reasonable caution is outside your home, and that man of reasonable caution believes that there's criminal activity afoot inside of your home, well, then all he need to do is knock, police, 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 wait 30 seconds, and then boom, they can kick the door down. Well, I'm sorry, Chille, didn't you say in 1961 that the exact same court, the same 9 appointed monarchs in 1961 who said they create the exclusionary rule using the 1914 case of Weeks. They expand on the 1914 case of Weeks versus United States in 1914, and they then expand it to create fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. Surely those same 9 people, just 2 years later in Kerr versus California, they're going to say, no. You went to her house. You didn't have a warrant. That's fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine, an extension of the exclusionary rule from 1914. We are going to throw this case out. We're going to reprimand the cops, and we're going to let Diana Kerr go. No. And how come? Why aren't they? Well, because in 1961, after Mapp versus Ohio is passed, this man, Earl Warren from the Warren Court, right here, see him? Earl Warren, when fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine is passed in 1961, then what happens is Earl Warren is now, for the first time in U.S. history, they are trying to impeach a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Well, why would they try to impeach him? Well, it's pretty simple, because Earl Warren also passed this Supreme Court case called Brown versus Board of Education. What does Brown versus Board of Education do? Brown versus Board of Education, it ends legal racial segregation, overturning the 1896 case of Plessy versus Ferguson. That's what it does. And so from 1954 until 1964, there's like this no man's land in the United States of America, because blacks are not allowed to go downtown. Blacks are not allowed to participate in everyday regular society. And why aren't they? Because since 1896 till 1954, there was 2 sets of laws created, the black codes for blacks and the rule of law for white folks. And Earl Warren upset the apple cart by ending legal racial segregation. Earl Warren must be a great guy then. Absolutely not. Earl Warren upended Plessy versus Ferguson in 1954 because he didn't know if blacks were plotting and planning to overthrow the U.S. government. Maybe you've heard of a very popular term called white fright. Now, to you and I today, white fright is ridiculous. Like, I'm not afraid of black people. Oh, but you hadn't had them segregated away from you. You hadn't had all the mysterious of, look at the guy with the big nose. You didn't have white fright. You don't have it because you're born into a society that's segregated with black, whites, Mexicans, Asians, everybody. But white fright back then, and how do we know this for a fact? How do we know that Earl Warren didn't end legal racial segregation just because he was also president of the Freemasons for 5 years after he was governor of California? Earl Warren is a giant piece of shit, and I pray he's burning in hell. So Earl Warren, in the 1944 case of Korematsu versus United States, you see FDR right there? You see how everybody celebrates FDR? FDR was the greatest president ever, greatest president ever. Was he? You sure? FDR, what he did during World War II in 1942, what he did on the advice of who? Who advised him? Korematsu. He was locked up in a concentration camp in New York City. The only U.S. president in history who had concentration camps was FDR. He created concentration camps for how many Japanese people in America? 100,000. Overnight, we arrested, rounded up 100,000 Japanese people and put them in Japanese prisons, also called internment camps, also concentration camps, also re-education camps. So FDR, he's the one that put Korematsu in jail. Why did he do it? This guy named Earl Warren came and advised him in 1941 that we should lock up all the Japanese in America. Why? Because Earl Warren's a Freemason. They have to control everybody and everything. So then why is Brown versus Board of Education pass? Because Earl Warren thinks that blacks are planning on overthrowing the U.S. government. We have to desegregate them. We have to know what blacks are saying in restaurants, in bars, in clubs, in hospitals. We have to know what blacks are saying, or they could be plotting and planning to overthrow the U.S. government. So he desegregates America in 1954, Brown versus Board of Education. When he desegregates America, are blacks free? Anybody? Are blacks free? Nope. Nope. Blacks are not free. Who does not want to free blacks? Who will not respect that segregation come to an end? The cops. The cops. You often hear people talk about qualified immunity, qualified immunity. Where does qualified immunity come from? It comes from the 1967 case of Pearson versus Ray that happened in what year? 1961. Why did that happen? Why did that happen? A bunch of Baptist preachers got into a bus and were freedom riding across the South because they were going to restaurants and bars and clubs where it said whites only because segregation had ended in 1954. But blacks were not free. It was at 59. Was it 1959? It could have been 59. It doesn't matter because the case goes to the Supreme Court in 1967. 1967, when the cops have arrested the blacks for going into a whites-only restaurant, the cops are then granted what? Qualified immunity. Okay? So, just a little caveat there so you understand where qualified immunity comes from. So, Earl Warren desegregates America in 1954. Blacks are not truly free in our country until 1964. And so then we're going back to the Mary Jane. So blacks are not allowed to walk around downtown. Then down here, so here's what he's done. Earl Warren has passed Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. Earl Warren has passed the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine in 1961. The police in America do not want the country desegregated. John Terry, downtown Cleveland in 1963, milling around, he got arrested for milling around. Blacks weren't allowed to hang around Euclid Avenue, downtown Cleveland, 1963. Blackie, get the fuck out of here. You're not allowed to hang around downtown. John Terry, if you can't tell by the picture, look at his eyes. John Terry is a mentally ill black man. He will spend the rest of his life in an insane asylum after he serves his term for being arrested in the famous case of Terry versus Ohio. Martin McFadden, the cop next to him, had become a cop in 1932. 1932 till 1963, he became a cop in 1924. So in 1924, there was no desegregated America. That didn't happen until 1954, 30 years later. For 30 years, Martin McFadden's main job was to enforce segregation. When he saw John Terry milling around downtown Cleveland on Euclid Avenue in 63, you got some Enner down here? Get that Enner out of here. He arrests him. That's how we get Terry versus Ohio. Terry versus Ohio is passed by Earl Warren. And so now we're coming full circle here. Earl Warren has passed Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. Matt versus Ohio, 1961. The cops hate his fucking guts. 1963, Earl Warren gives the cops a bone by saying, you know what? You don't really need a warrant if you just knock and announce. Knock and announce is done how many times a year in America? Over 250,000 people are knocked and announced. But the cops are still picketing him. They want to have him impeached. Welcome to the 1968 holding of Terry versus Ohio. That's how we got there. That's how we got here. That's how we got here. So a little bit of education for you guys so that you could understand the reasons why we are in the place that we are in today. Let me check. Let me give away some 5A cop cards. Let me give away. Everybody hit the like button. Would everybody please hit the like button? Just take a second and hit the like button. If you guys like my poster, I'll give it to you for free if you get a trifold. Get a digital trifold for $9. Get a hard copy trifold. I'll email it to you right now for free. I haven't checked the orders. I haven't given away a bunch of stuff yet, but I'm going to do that right now. So look, you could take this video that I've sat here and talked for an hour straight about Terry versus Ohio in the Supreme Court, and you can throw it away because I have another presentation coming in the next. There's so much work here. Like I keep on saying, I'm going to teach constitutional law scholar. If you guys could only understand the amount of work it takes to produce this next thing, I'm inundated trying to get this done. And I'm also trying to fight for Press with Rancor right now in Michigan because we got you, Lauren Wickman. I got you, baby. I got you. I interviewed a bunch of people in Michigan. I got you. You're not getting reelected. You are an absolute tyrant. Wickman in Michigan. So anyway, listen, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me check. Let me check my order sheet right here and see if anybody. I got Philip. I believe Philip, Peggy and Philip. Peggy and Philip, you are the last two people. And let me check and see if I have anything else in here. So I'll tell you what, the next five people who order anything off my website, I don't care what it is, I'm going to mail you the 5A cop card for free. I'm going to send you both the non-driver and the driver. The next five people who order anything at all. Tyler N, your order failed. I know you're expecting me to mail you something. I can't mail you something if your order failed. I'll still email you everything I sell for free, Tyler. There's no barrier to entry to get my stuff. Dan Hanlon, what's going on, Playboy? Dan, thanks for your order, Dan, but you know I'll give you everything for free, buddy. I appreciate your support, Dan. Thanks a lot, man. Dan Hanlon coming in and putting an order in. I appreciate that, Dan. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. You know, I'll give away my products to anybody for free. I would appreciate it if you could buy one thing, but at the same time, I'm not going to deny you. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to tell you don't get my products because you don't have $9. Not a chance in hell. I'll give you everything I sell for free right this second. So I'm going to start with Peggy and Steven, I believe. I'm just checking the order list here. Okay, so I got Fred, I got Ian. I'm sending you everything for free. So Fred here and Ian, Steven, Peggy, Philip, Frank, Dan Hanlon, and Wayne. Those are the people right now. I'm going to email you a bunch of free stuff. If you want free stuff, go to my inquiry form. Go to deletelaws.com, delete laws with a Z. Go to my inquiry form. So, I mean, I guess just by kind of this light dissertation that I just taught, can you imagine for a moment that maybe I know a couple things, that maybe I put my heart and soul into this. Maybe I made this so that you don't go to jail. Maybe, just maybe, if I'm willing to give it to you for free, that maybe, just maybe, this will actually help you so much it's unbelievable. Could you imagine that just for a second? Could you imagine that I've taken the 20 years plus since 2002, so I guess it's just 21 years now that I've been studying constitutional law, and I have buried myself inside of this trifold. Everything that I taught you just now is in the trifold. Everything I taught you just now is in this trifold. This is the way you deal with pigs. Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire, fighting words, revoking consent. You're allowed to park on the highway to film cops anytime you want. Yep, I just want you guys to be able to fight back against this tyrannical appointed monarchy Supreme Court police state that they've created. So at the Supreme Court level, just so you know, I'm sorry, what'd you say? I'm not looking at any of the comments. So Woody said, geez, Chille only asked 3 times. Once I paid $5 to do it. I'm not really sure what that means, man. I'm sorry. I can't keep up. I cannot keep up. But I want to show you guys something right now. This is the first episode of the new series coming out that I created. And I created this with a guy in, I'm not going to tell you where he's from, but I created this with a dude. And this is the new series coming out on the channel called American Patriot. So let me do this real quick. Let me pull this up real fast so you guys can see it. And I'm going to show you guys American Patriot. I'm going to show you the first episode of American Patriot. Let me see if I have this here. Here this is. Let me email this over to myself just super duper quick. Okay, I got this right here. I'm going to copy this. Let me text this to myself real fast. So I'm going to show you guys the first episode of American Patriot. You guys can subscribe to the channel right now if you want to. This first episode of American Patriot is, the whole thing is so good. You have no idea what happened. What happened there? Hopefully it's... Let me see what we got here. You guys are going to really like this. This is really good. The gentleman that I hired to edit this, this is so good. You have no idea. I hope I don't need my other phone. Not now. Not now. Update password. Okay, let me go to Studio here and see if I have it in here. Content. I do have it in here. Here's episode 1. Okay, here it is. So, how many of you guys have been following me for the past year? Put a 1 in the chat if you've been following me for the past year or 2. Has anybody here been following me? I know Chevy has. There's a few people in here who I'll be able to recognize who have been following me for a long time. Alan Hubbs definitely has been with me for a long time. Cope Dog has been with me for a really long time. So I'm going to show you guys the first episode, and let me share this with you so you guys can see it. This is the name of the channel. It's called American Patriot. It has 11 subscribers because I haven't launched it yet. But if you guys, I'll drop the link down here. You guys will be able to find the channel and you'll be able to subscribe. I'm going to show you the first episode of this. There's the link in the chat below if you guys want to see this. That's the name of the series that I created based on my adventures through the country, starting in Ironton, Ohio. And then we're going to move on to Youngstown, and we're going to move on to a few places. I'm going to send off a bunch of free things right now. If you guys get anything from my website, this video is 10 minutes long. If you get anything from my website, deletelaws.com, during this live stream, I will send you everything I sell for free. Excuse me. I'm going to read off a bunch of winners right now. So I'm going to give away 5 more 5A cop cards, 5 more 5A cop cards to the next 5 people who order anything from my website. The next 5 people who order anything from my website, I'm going to send you this hard copy 5A cop card, driver and non-driver version. All righty. All righty. So hold on to your hats because this is pretty entertaining.
What's your name?
Tim.
Tim what?
Wait, why do I have to give you that? I don't understand that.
Because I stopped you for a traffic violation. You have to get
For what traffic?
not using turn signal 100 feet prior.
Did I commit a crime? I need to speak to your supervisor.
Okay, he's on his way, and he's got to tell you the same thing. You got to give me your ID. Step out.
Sir, don't put your hands on me. I want your supervisor. I want your supervisor. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, hey, hey.
Turn it. Get back. Get back.
Get your camera on, please.
Get back in the car. Stay in the car.
No one's gonna resist it or anything.
What the hell is this about?
Knees up. Stand up.
Are you kidding me?
Knees up, roll on your knees.
I'm not going to move.
All right, that's fine.
I want the supervisor. That's all I asked for.
There's
all I
no
asked
need
for.
for
You know
that.
what there's no need for?
Crime was committed.
That's a traffic violation.
You wanted to
Okay, he's gonna ticket.
Just have
You have to give me the
you
right.
have to let me speak to your supervisor.
Yeah.
That's the law.
And he's coming, but he's
That is the law.
Have you seen?
Why?
Hey, Mom, it's your son. Well, I'm off again. I'm leaving Dallas and I'm going up to Ohio. This woman up in Ohio's called me and now she's sent me the video. And she's getting stalked and harassed by these cops up there in this small little town called Ironton. You know, I don't know what I can do, Mom, but I'll tell you, I've had enough. I've had enough. I'm so sick and tired of police just abusing people constantly. And I know I was put on this earth for something, so I think this is what my purpose is. I don't know. I'll be careful. I can already hear you. Anyway, listen, I love you. I'll call you when I get to Ohio. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Step on out.
I've done nothing wrong.
You can step on out.
Fine, but there's no
Step back here
sense
with
in
him,
that.
okay? You can stand back here with him,
None.
okay? You can stand back here with him, okay?
Why did you do that?
Okay. Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
I've done nothing wrong. It's not wrong to plead my case. What have I done?
They make your car. He is. All right, well, he can sit there for a minute. So this is what happened. I'm behind another car, and I observed because I was watching the vehicle. Hey, back her up. So I'm got my lights on. That car goes that way. Here's my supervisor. What's up, bro?
Well, here's the thing. I have to without being yanked out on my property and slammed on the ground.
Okay, yeah. I won't. Yeah, it's him. She said he's got two tattoos. One looks like a fist and one looks like a square. He's got an eye on one side and a square tattoo right here.
He's got the cash in the wallet.
Where's it at? How much is it?
346, 347, something like that.
What's paying you?
It's going to 2625 6th Street.
Really?
Ironton.
What's wrong with this? Really?
Yep.
Look at the little doggy. Look at. Hey, buddy. Watch the motherfucker. I'm tired of worrying about them pulling me over and dumb shit. Next time they pull me over, they better have a real good fucking reason.
Doing it intentionally too to intimidate us.
Oh, he's pulling us over.
Crack your window.
Oh, I got this.
Unfortunately, you committed a couple.
Just don't argue with him. We just need to get back to work. So
Traffic violations on just your vehicle. So
shut up. Just don't say that.
just shut up. 'Cause I'm not talking to you.
Is that a lawful order?
That is a lawful order.
Can
I
we-
don't like being interrupted. I don't like trying to be talked over to. What you're trying to do,
apologize.
what she is doing.
I apologize.
So this is what I'm saying. I want you to take your seatbelt off, and you're coming back here, me and you're going to talk like men instead of having your wife yell over the top.
Sir, I
I told you
apologize.
once, shut up.
Okay,
I
just
told you once, shut up. Shut up.
What does that mean? What does
Yeah.
talk like
No,
men?
sir, no,
Shut
sir.
up.
She's not breaking any laws.
She done obstructed me twice. If I give her a lawful order to shut up,
Well,
it
she
is.
said, I apologize. Answer, open the door.
Who was talking to us, sir?
No, I said
step out here.
Take your Okay. seatbelt
off.
Just
Face
step
away.
out. Just do what he says, babe.
I want right there.
I asked if we could de-escalate. That's all
And
I
I
said.
de-escalated,
You were
and she
seeming like you were
continued to
getting
yell and talk over top of
Is
me.
she being under arrest here?
Yes, she is.
For talking?
For obstruction and failure to comply
Sir,
with a
she was
lawful order.
just telling you the
After
issue.
I told her to shut up and let me and you talk.
Okay, I'll speak
Because
to
she
your
was
supervisor.
yelling over
Are you the
top of you.
supervisor?
Yes, go ahead. Talk to me.
I'm sorry. I don't know how this escalated into all this. We've been stopped here in this town before for this, and you were the one that stopped us.
You guys have also made false complaints.
Well, we haven't made any complaints. No, she attempted to make a complaint.
But it was false. That was false. She got called out on it.
What was the complaint? What was the complaint?
I'm not exactly
The complaint was about us being stopped and me being yanked out of my car and held in jail for 3 days. And my family told him that I didn't have a bond when actually I did. The bondsman came.
Well, that has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. Well, that was what she was attempting to complain about. We didn't know who to go to with that complaint. I'm gonna put this back in my glove box. Oh God, damn it! She fainted. She faints. Babe.
There's no need for ambulance. I just scare really easy, and I understand that's what
I
you
need
have
to get
do.
on my phone and cancel this delivery. All this embarrassment.
Stopped them 5 times in 1 year for no
I've
reason.
literally been circled. How many times now? That means the third time. And I can't fucking do it, man. I can't do it. What? Seriously.
Check your email, everybody. If you would, check your email. I just sent off 50 emails to people. Please check your email.
Man, I can't.
Pulling you over.
He can't pull me over. I didn't do anything.
Use your Fifth Amendment right.
Use your Fifth Amendment right. He just said it. He told her what to do. She doesn't listen.
You got a license on you, ma'am?
I do, but I'm on the phone with 911 now, and I want to know why you're following me.
I'm not following you.
You did. You circled the block 3 times. That's why I stopped and pulled over to lock eyes with you, because every time I come over here, you all harass me. What did I do?
You broke a traffic violation.
What was a traffic violation?
It was a turn signal and a stop sign
You just
violation
did a U-turn in the middle of the street.
to catch up to you.
To me, sir, I stopped. I stopped immediately.
Well, just hop out here.
I'm not.
Hop
I
out.
need an officer here, please. This officer has been following me.
826,
I'm not
904.
doing anything wrong.
That's how this works. I'm going to ask you to step out. I'm going to tell you to step out, and then I'm going to force you to step out. You broke a traffic violation. Be a woman. Own up to it.
Be a woman, huh? What does that mean?
Just
Be a
hold on,
woman?
right here. You got ID on you? I told you what the traffic violation was. That was a turn signal.
Doing a U-turn in the middle of the street for no emergency, you have to abide by the law as well. And I didn't do anything. I stopped right there.
Well, I'm writing you a citation for the turn signal and
That's
stop sign.
fine.
I said just mark and hold our information. I think I had an interaction with you up here, and you.
You did. You stopped me in front of Joanne while I was putting my makeup on for a turn signal violation. That didn't happen.
Okay. I'm informing you that you are going to get a citation for the turn signal and a stop sign. So, in the middle of the
I have
road.
you on video.
That's fine.
Following me, circling the block, coming around, and
Uh-huh.
finding me. And I am going to your superiors.
There he is.
Here I am.
No, I'm going to your superior.
Oh, okay. Her name's Chief Wagner. She's
I
at
know
the office
exactly
today.
who she is. I
Okay.
spoke with Miss Wagner several times.
Okay. They never do anything. What you got?
She stopped right at the crosswalk. And then when she seen me, that's when she turned the turn signal on.
There you go.
They're making things up.
A nice narrative on the background so you can reference it because I'm sure she'll take it to court.
Oh,
No blinker, wrong car color. Pulled over for the wrong color car.
Hello?
Okay, Sarah, I'm leaving here tomorrow morning. It'll take me 12 hours to drive to Ohio.
So, well, I live in Kentucky, which is right across the river. Yeah.
I know you live in Kentucky. I know where you live. I got everything all mapped out. So this is just a phone call to let you know that I'm on my way. I'll see you in less than 24, 48 hours. Okay?
I appreciate you so much.
I need
much.
Get all your videos in order so that we can go over them as quick as we can when I get there, okay?
Okie doke.
Okay, I'll see you Monday morning.
All right, thank you very much.
You bet. Hey, Sarah, keep it under your hat. Keep it under your hat, real quiet, okay?
Definitely.
Monday. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Is that the police department right there? That is the police department. Well, God bless. Hey, I'm here to file a criminal complaint against Blankenship. I got him on video. You can see the video. Episode 2. Hey, Mom. So I've been here for a day now, half a day, and I met with these two people, Tim and Sarah, and it is real. I saw the video footage. These people are getting arrested for not using a blinker. I wish I was joking. I'm not. They're getting arrested for not using a blinker. We saw this how many years? My whole life, we've just seen it where police can do whatever they want. And now I learned my rights. I know our rights. I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. And I'll tell you what, Mom, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to talk to that chief of police. And I'm going to let her know in no uncertain terms that we, the people, are watching. And there's going to be a champion. And it's going to be me. I am not going to tolerate this. The things that are happening here are so egregious. What I'm seeing on video is outright constitutional violations. And I'm not talking about Yunez. I'm not talking about where they put him in handcuffs and tortured him. I'm talking about stalking. I'm talking about stalking people. And when you guys see the video, when you see what these cops are doing in Ironton, is that the police department right there? That is the police department. Well, God bless. Now, inside this police department here, I won't express quite the same amount of Hello? Well, that's definitely a cop car, and they got some stuff in there. So that's B. Pauley. This is a police interceptor. So you got the lights back here. There has to be another way into this police department. Nothing. I don't know why they're ducking. Ma'am, is there a way to get to that police department?
You have to go out back.
Okay.
Under the, whatever that blue awning or something.
Is there a way to call there or anything?
No idea.
I got you. I got you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Are you a police officer? No. Is there a way to get access to the police officers? I want to file a complaint.
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to file a complaint.
Is that door not open?
It does not open. I tried it. I gave it the old college try here. Hey.
That ain't me.
I need to file a complaint. That's why I'm here.
That's that place, not this place.
That place right there.
Yeah, but you guys, how do I get access? I need to file
Call
a
that
complaint.
phone number. Step down there because we're getting ready to bring inmates
We're
out.
gonna
Step
bring
down there and
inmates
make that. Call that phone number.
In the history of you guys doing this, has anybody ever tried to take prisoners out of your hands? So that's not going to happen today, then, is it?
I've done
Well, then
it
is it?
6 years and I ain't never lost one.
Right, and so I'm not going to start today
But you're
trying
in
to
the way,
take.
though, of them coming
I'm not
out
in the
there
way.
and
You can
shacking.
walk right by me.
I don't want you there.
I don't care if you want me here. This is a publicly
Hey,
funded
no,
building.
it's not.
Go ahead, dude.
Listen,
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Go ahead. You don't know who I am.
I don't care who you are.
Okay, well, I can stand right here.
Well, I don't
Wait
know.
for them to
We're
answer the
bringing
door.
inmates out. I
give
don't
a damn
want you
what
there.
you're doing. I don't care.
I don't care what
I
you're
don't
doing.
care.
You're in our way.
I'm not in your way.
The hell you ain't. You're in my
If you
way.
would answer the door, I would have a conversation. I'll step on this side. I'm not stepping
Well,
anywhere.
what
I'm
you to
waiting
do?
by this door. I'm waiting by this door, dude. And that's what I'm doing. No one's ever tried to attack you and take these inmates away, so just stop it. Settle yourself down. Can I file a complaint? Like where? Criminal reports. That's the one I want right there. 740-532-3525. Is the chief here? Is Pam Wagner here? Real polite folks here in Ironton, Ohio. Well, guys, let me just tell you, I'm a civil libertarian. And what I do is I expose corrupt police departments all over the country. And this one
This
right
young
here,
lady right here.
this one right here is super corrupt. Look Okay. at this Hey, edit. I'm here to This file a edit criminal is so complaint good. against Blankenship. I got him on video. You can see the video.
Okay,
And
what's going on?
he's harassing Sarah Page. I've got about 10 videos.
If you're not the victim, I can take no complaint from me, but I have to have a complaint from her.
I'm a civil libertarian. Are you the chief? Are you Pam?
I am.
Oh, but she came here. You're Pam. There's Pam Wagner.
Yep.
So she came here, and what Pam said to her was that she would arrest her for filing a false complaint.
That is not.
That's what you
that's not
said.
true.
That's what you said, Pam. Don't lie. That's what you
That's-
said. I got it on video. I have it on video. I have
So do
everything
I.
on video. So why can't she file a complaint? Why can't Sarah
She
file a
can
complaint?
she can file a complaint on anything she wants to, and I
No,
explained.
you
that to
said
her.
you would arrest her if she filed a complaint. That's what you said.
No, I did not.
That's what
say
you
that.
said. That's what you said. Do you know what I do?
Do you know what I did?
Oh, I know what you do. I know everything about your record. I looked you all up before I drove all the way over here.
I'm sure you did.
So did you see Blankenship follow Sarah around 6-8 times and pull her over? Did you see her wrist after he cuffed her up? Did you know he's been pulled over twice for not using the blinker? Twice? And then you go to handcuffs for that? You go in handcuffs for not using the blinker?
Okay, when she came in here,
Uh-huh.
what she said is she had it on video.
She does.
Well, she never showed me that video. What she did, and I told her, I said, well, we'll pull the body camera footage up.
Okay.
And we did.
Right?
We did.
And you saw him circle around her 15 times and then put her in cuffs? Two times these people have been pulled over for not using a blinker, and 2 times they've been put in handcuffs. You know handcuffs are torture, right? Absolute torture.
Okay. You've got the video of her being put in handcuffs.
I've got a wrist as well.
No. You've got the
I've
video.
got all the videos, every one of them. There's
Okay.
dozens of videos, Pam. They've been harassing these 2 people because they found a wallet. They didn't give it back. They stole the wallet. Your cops did. And then they've been harassing these people for 2 years. And you guys been picking on people who don't have the brains, the charisma, or the knowledge to actually take you on. And that's why I'm here, Pam.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going to do. Because let me tell you something. You know whose head's going to roll and fired? Yours. Because of what you've been covering up for 2 years.
She's gone.
It's disgusting, Pam. It's disgusting. How could you even stand here and not feel 1 ounce of sorrow? Why don't you just say you're sorry?
For what?
For allowing Blankenship to totally harass Sarah.
When Sarah came in here.
You said you would arrest her for filing a false police report.
That's not what was said.
That's what she told me you said, Pam.
That was not what was said.
What'd you say then?
I told her she could fill out any paperwork she wants. And she said she had it on video. And I said, my officers have it on video as well.
Right. And did you look at the video, Pam?
Absolutely.
And you
did.
watched. She's saying she actually saw the video. When you guys
So
see
did
this
Sarah.
video,
Sarah sat right
when
there
you
and
guys
watched
see
it
this
with me.
video, if she just admitted she saw the video, ma'am, you're putting yourself in a bad position here. If I was you, I would remain silent because what you guys have done is criminal.
Are you an attorney?
I don't have to answer your questions. Here's what I do have to file civil litigation. No, I'm not leaving. I'm in a public space. I'm not going anywhere. This is not McDonald's or Walmart. You can't trespass me for standing here. Are you going to walk away from the meeting now? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to flee? You're going to run and hide? Or do I get to meet with Blankenship now?
There's no one here but me.
Yeah. So you're holding this place down then?
There's no one here. I don't even have a clerk here.
Let me ask you, instead of you and I battling, are you?
I'm not battling because I have nothing to battle over.
You're about to find out. But
Okay.
let me ask you a question. Instead of this, are you actually going to do anything? This is a dog police department. She's about to find out. She's about to find out. That's what she's about
She's
to do.
gone.
And I have every right to be upset. She's a total tyrant. You have no idea. You can tell from the way that this guy acts that this is how they all behave here. This is how they behave in Ironton, Ohio. They're all a bunch of cowards. Every last one of them. Coward, coward, coward. what they did at Ironton Police Department to these people, Yunez's case is a fraction of what this case is. These people have been arrested, cuffed, jailed. That's what's going on here. That's why I had to leave and have an emergency trip here, because Sarah got pulled over twice in the past 2 weeks, and she got put in handcuffs for 30 minutes. For 30 minutes. Scum buckets. Just scum. Just outright scum. Really, truly scum. There's no other way to see it. I have a right to stand in the public. You guys can do whatever. You guys can do whatever you'd like, but the thing is if you put your hands on me,
I need to step out.
I sued all of them. You're going to arrest me? For what?
Oh.
I made an appointment for 10 a.m. tomorrow.
let's go.
Oh, okay. Let me grab my.
Let's go.
So I'll show one more episode because there's 15 episodes in the first season. I need you guys right now, go to my website and get this trifold in your car. If you don't have the $9 to buy a trifold, I need you to contact me and ask me to send you one for free. You can get this nice $30 one that comes with this fancy broccoli wad rubber band. Go to my website right now. Go to deletelaws.com with a Z, deletelaws.com with a Z. I'm going to show one more episode of this because this series comes out this weekend. We launched this weekend. So this is something I've been working on for the past several months, and I wanted to be able to show the people of Ironton exactly how corrupt their town is. And I wanted to show everybody how I became known across the country. So go to Delete Laws right now. I'm going to give away 5 5A cop cards. Dr. Donna, I got you. I'm going to send you a 5A cop card. This is the 5A cop card. Go to my website right now. Let's take a look at episode 3 and see what that looks like. And then I'll get the flock out of here. Last one I'll show today. Hey, Mom, it's your son. How you doing? There's something going on in this town, Mom. There's something going on here. When I walk around the town here, everybody knows who I am. It's a small town, just like back on the peninsula in Alaska, but there's something going on. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going up to the courthouse because we're filing a restraining order and we're going to try to get the cops to get off Sarah's back. When I get more information, I'll let you know. Don't worry about me. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'll check back with you tomorrow. I love you. Bye. Where is that courthouse at? Is this the courthouse? Yeah. So it's kind of a funny looking courthouse, huh? Let me go see if I can hit the judge's chambers here. Show the judge what's going on. But Kevin Waldo, we did the research on him. Kevin Waldo graduated from Ironton High School. So, that means that he's known all these people and the cops and everybody here. He's known them all for years. Don't wait to get your stuff. I'm gonna have to leave this coffee. I appreciate if you chip in. I appreciate that, but don't wait to get your stuff. The judge. Don't wait to get your trifold. Some decency here. I'll send it to you. Trying to talk to Judge Waldo. Is he in?
Yes, he is. That'd be great if I talk to him. Yes, he is.
And I have this set up so that he can see it. And I'm going to show him something here. Let's see what they say. Let's see what Mr. Waldo says. Oh, let me guess. He's not going to talk to me. There's a shocker, isn't it? So set an appointment maybe for 9-10 a.m. Would that be all right?
Come on.
I'll be. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm for law and order. I'm for America. I just the application of the way the laws are being applied right now, and the harassment that's going on from the Ironton Police Department. I have video that I want to show the judge because this is ongoing. Let me show you guys though, just real quick, since I got you guys right here. Let me just show you guys so you guys get to see the video here. So this is Sarah Page right here. she went to go and pick up a friend. And what's been going on here at Ironton Police Department is for 2 years after Sarah found out that the cops took her wallet, she went back and complained at the police department. And now ever since then, she's being stalked. So she went to go pick up a friend right here. I want you guys to see that. Cop passes. That's that same Officer Blankenship. So you guys can see exactly what happened.
They never come around here.
Dude, I tell you, they look for my car.
They do. They watch for your car. They have to. Like, there's no fucking way, dude. There's never police around here. Unless somebody called, like, an anonymous drug tip line on me for smoking weed, which it shouldn't even be illegal.
They can't do that,
I know
dude.
they can't do
That's
that, but
hearsay.
they'll still do it, you know? They'll
And
do it because
look,
people
there he is, right behind me.
following you?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're stalking her.
And I definitely got that one.
They're stalking this woman.
When he pull you over? He's spinning the block too. For what?
They're harassing me, is exactly what it is.
If he comes back around, they're definitely stalking you. If he was just driving through. But here's the thing, where the fuck is he going is the thing. Like, there's...
That guy's pulled me over before. He pulled me over before, and I gave him fucking hell for it. And I told him to get his supervisor over here.
Cop that was just following.
Yeah. He pulled me over right back here in front of Joanne. And
Why did he just come back around?
he's harassing me. I'm sorry, Caleb. I will take you to the hospital, like, literally, dude, just as quick as I possibly can. But I'm pissed off because there he goes again, and he's gonna fucking circle around. What do you bet?
Circling?
Yep.
Why? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
They're stalking
That
her.
makes no logical sense why you would be circling the block over and over
I'm
again.
calling the police department. That's
No,
exactly
don't
what I'm
call
gonna
the
do.
police department.
Can't take it, man.
I'm sorry that I had you come to Iron.
No, don't be. It's not your fault, buddy. Not at all. They can't get me on the fucking car color shit again. Oh, well, your car comes back as a tan vehicle.
Restart court. I need you to go out here and have a seat.
This is a public building. I'm just going to finish.
No, we're conducting business here. You got to go over here if you're going to have public, if you're wanting to use it. Go out here and have a seat.
Let me help you out with something real quick. So that took me 20 years to get that done right there.
I sued him.
What that means is that I can stand in a public building.
I know, but
I'm
you
not
have to-
disrupting anything.
We're getting ready to start court here.
Okay, that's great. Where's court?
Right here. It's getting ready to start.
Okay, great.
So come on around here.
It's not off order. That's not how it works. So now he's racing around the block.
Stay behind him. Then he can't do anything. Follow his ass.
They're going out of their way to fuck with me.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
You need to come out here. Go right here.
And I'm not going to resist you, but I just want you to understand something. A 1983 civil rights violation, I'll file it. I have a right to stand in the public. But I'm not doing anything other than showing the video of what happened.
Sir, we're trying to conduct business.
Right.
here,
No, what
so
you-
you need to
what
sit
you're
right
doing-
here and have a seat.
This is a violation of my
Come right
rights,
out here
guys.
and have a seat.
This is a violation of my
You're
rights.
interfering with what they're doing in here. You need to step out.
But I'm not.
Yes, you are,
Yes, you
because
are.
we have
You need
people
to step
coming
out.
through here.
You guys
You
can
need
do
to
whatever.
step over
You need
here.
to
You
step out
guys
there.
can do whatever you'd like, but the
Just
thing is,
step right
if you put your hands on me, what that does is that you're molesting me, and that gives me a right to file a
You
1983.
need to step
Just step
out
over
or you
here.
will be arrested.
You're going to
Step right
arrest me
here.
for what?
If you don't step out, you are interfering with what they're doing.
But what am I going to be arrested for? What's the charge, officer?
Come on.
Well,
Come
I'm
on.
charged.
I've just got one more minute on this video, and then I'll step out. I asked to see the judge. I'm being patient. I'm
Well,
not interrupting anybody.
It's not up to the
I
judge
haven't-
to
I
see
haven't
you
raised
just
my
because you
voice.
want to.
I made an appointment for 9-10 a.m.
Let's-
tomorrow.
let's go.
Oh, okay. Let me grab my. They put their hands on me. Nick, what's your name, sir? Can I please get? I'm not going to sit down. Can I please get your name, sir?
Mark Harmon.
Your name's Mark Harmon. And which department do you work for, sir? Expect a lawsuit. What's it? I need the other gentleman's name. I have a court appointment at 4:00. I go to court at 4 here. I'm still suing them. I go to court here at 4:00.
Over there, next room, right there.
You need to have a seat.
You have a First Amendment right. It doesn't end at the court doors. It doesn't hit the court doors. As long as you're not disturbing the peace, you can film anything you want. You just can't film in the courtroom where there's a jury. That's the only caveat. So now I will finish the video for you guys. Hopefully my computer didn't die in that process.
We've been circled how many times now? That makes the third time. And I can't fucking do it, man. I can't do it. What? Seriously. Dude, can't do it, man. I can't.
Pulling you over.
No
He
reason.
can't pull me over. I didn't do anything.
Well, I need your name, sir. You do have a badge on you. It's the federal badge ID policy of police.
Sir, sit down before you do end up in jail.
I mean, what a clown. What a clown. What an absolute clown. So aggravation is now a law?
It could be.
It could be.
It could be. I don't know.
Is that really how you see law?
I don't know if it is or not.
Back the blue till it happens to you. And then you'll call me and you'll say, man, I was a big cop supporter. And then they beat me up and hurt me and they put their knee in my neck. Well, I need your name, sir. You do have a badge on you. It's the federal badge ID policy of police.
Sir, sit down before you do end up in jail.
He threatened to put me in jail for not breaking any statute. That's the tyranny here in Ironton. I mean, what a clown. What a clown. What an absolute clown. And he walks around like he thinks he understands the law. The wheels of justice take time to turn, but they will crush him. Hey, Mom, it's your son. I'm okay. I'm all right. I kind of understand how Alice in Wonderland felt. You know, when she takes the ride and everything is upside down and nothing is what it seems to be. Here's what I've been able to assess so far that I've seen. The government takes the law for themselves. They can grab us whenever they want. If they don't like you standing there or being there, they can just grab you. Where does it say in our Bill of Rights, government can grab you and arrest you if they don't like you or they don't want you standing there? Sorry. Just, I know this stuff gets you stressed out, but I can tell you one thing. I'm not in Kansas anymore. You know, I think what I need to make sure that I do is I need to make sure that I teach every time I go out. Every time I turn on my camera, I need to teach the people what liberty is, teach the people the reason why what's happening to all of us is wrong. It goes against the fundamental principle of liberty, and it has to change. See, these guys are used to sovereign citizens. They're not used to a guy who's for law and order. There's a big difference. Oh, do you think it's funny? Do you think it's funny?
I think it's fun.
What do you think? What's funny about it? I just want to know. What do you think is funny? Just curious. What do you think is funny?
I think it's funny, yeah.
What's funny?
Well, you're acting.
I'm here because there's people who are being stalked, harassed, and arrested 5 times now by the Ironton Police Department. I'm here for liberty and justice.
Well, go down and tell the Ironton Police Department that. What are you telling me?
I already did.
Well, then.
I'm here for Sarah's court hearing at 4 p.m.
Who's hearing?
Sarah Page. I'm here for her court hearing at 4
What's she arrested for?
She's been pulled over twice for not using a blinker, and then she was arrested for not telling the cop, giving her ID as she was a passenger in the car, which again is unconstitutional. You have a right not to identify unless there's probable cause been established.
Okay.
I mean, aren't you for law and order?
Yeah, I am.
Me too. We agree. Mm-hmm. Aren't you for America? Don't you love this country?
Yeah, are you?
Yes, 100%.
And we agree.
Okay. So then when the Ironton Police Department, did you hear what he just said? He said, sit down or he'll arrest me. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's right?
Well, yeah, you ought to sit down.
No, but do you think that...
See, when you invade someone else's space...
Invade?
Yeah.
I'm a free citizen. This is a public space paid for by the taxpayers. This isn't your space. This is our
This
space.
is my space.
I'm not sitting on. I'm not sitting
right
on your
here.
lap.
This is my space.
You haven't noticed, sir. I haven't raised my voice or cursed at a single person.
I don't care.
But I asked you a direct question. He threatened to arrest me because I didn't sit down. Do you think that's right? You think someone should be able to tell you to sit down or they'll arrest you?
If you're aggravating somebody, yeah.
So aggravation is now a law?
It could be.
Wow.
It could be. It could be. I
Wow.
don't know.
Is that really how you see law and order?
I don't know if it is or not.
So let me explain the difference between anarchy and law and order.
Okay.
Anarchy is when you can make things up as you go and arrest people for statutes that don't exist. Rule of law is there's statutes and codes that are written that would mean there's arrestable offenses based on probable cause. We are the power in this country. So that means I have a chance to redress my government and come in here with my First Amendment right and film everything here. That's
what you're doing. So what's the deal?
Well,
What's the deal?
I
don't understand the deal.
well, now I'm going to sue that guy who touched me, Mark Harmon, and I don't know the other guy's name. What's his name?
I didn't see nobody touch you.
See, this is the definition of tyranny when they hide who the personnel are. I asked him his name and badge number. He's violating the 2019 Federal Badge Transparency Act. So he's violating the law, not him, the other gentleman who didn't give me his name. I have a right to file a complaint, to go through all administrative options and then file a civil rights lawsuit. I have that right. And they can't grab me because they don't want me in the clerk's office. That's against the law. You can't put your hands on me. Just like I can't touch you, I can't touch him, and I can't touch him. I can't put my hands on people. It's rule of law, sir.
Okay.
Well, you said you respected it, but then you said he should be able to arrest me for aggravating it. When I
said you was aggravating.
In which way? How have
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Have I cursed? Have I cursed you out? You were in the room. You saw him grab me.
I must have my head turned.
You must have had your head turned. You didn't see him grab me.
Wow.
Well, the video will show that you did see it,
Well, good.
which is
Tickles me to death.
wow, just atrocious. Just atrocious. I mean, she came in too. Are you going to identify that officer who put his hands on me, ma'am? Ma'am, I'm behind you, ma'am. I don't want to freak out or anything, but I'd like to know, are you going to tell me that officer's name? No, the other one. That's Mark Harmon. There was another gentleman who also put his hands on me, which is against the law.
I didn't see.
You didn't?
I was in there, but I didn't see one put hands on me.
You didn't see anybody put their hands on me and grab me? No? Wow.
She was standing right there.
Oh, I didn't see it. There was people sitting in front of me.
Oh my God. She just said, oh. So you don't know the other guy's name then? The short guy who was, you don't know his name? Can you tell me his name?
No.
She won't tell me his name. So those who claim to be the law, break the law, violate the law, and act like
By
they're not.
me not telling you his name is not violating the law.
Do you think that saying that you didn't see anything, do you think that
I
makes-
didn't see anything.
But you came in the room
I
as,
was
as
in
an
the room,
authority
yes,
figure, and then I was ushered out by physically grabbing me. You're gonna.
I didn't see anyone.
Don't
touch
you have a
I
mom and
seen
dad?
that- I do have a mom and dad.
Do you believe in the Bible? Honor thy
do.
father and thy mother.
And if I was lying, then I would go to hell for that.
No. The only way you're going to get justice here is through the camera and by lawsuits. They physically grabbed me, and then none of them saw it later. They physically grabbed this guy. He won't identify himself. This gentleman right here. Get a good look at him. Are you going to identify this gentleman so I can list him in the complaint?
You can have a seat in the courtroom if you'd like.
You're not going to identify.
Make sure your cell phones are turned off.
You're not
Your
going to
hats
identify him?
are off.
I mean, you're not going to identify him? I'm just asking a fair question here. Put his hands on me. That's against my rights. Absolute tyrant. This guy's an absolute tyrant. He would never touch me without the gun and badge on, ever. He knows better. But he'll do it when he has a badge and gun, and then not identify himself and hide from transparency. I'm suing you, brother. You'll be heading to this court yourself. You'll be a defendant.
I am suing him.
You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. I am not joking. I've come here to do this. This is why I'm here. Now imagine what happens to you in prison because of the 1980 case of Johnson versus Glick. Johnson versus Glick is going to state that you can't file a 1983 if no one saw what happened to you. She said she didn't see anything, and that clown right there said he didn't see anything. Just pathetic. I got to go in here and file my amicus brief, so I got to turn my phone off. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Your Honor, is there a way I could meet with you specifically? Because this regards Sarah Page's case. There's constitutional violations going on right now around her case.
Are you an attorney, sir?
I'm a civil libertarian, Your Honor.
My question was, are you an attorney?
I'm a civil libertarian, Your Honor.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not. I don't have a bar card here. I don't have a bar card in this state.
I'll let you meet, but you got a point to make with Judge Waldo. And I do his traffic.
Oh, I see. And then the last thing, order of business, Your Honor, is I need this gentleman's first name and last name. I'm filing a complaint against him, and I'm filing civil litigation against this man for putting his hands on me. I just need to identify him as a member of the law and order. I would just like his full name so I can file a lawsuit against him.
You go outside, you go out to the clerk's office.
Judge won't give me his name.
Get that if you want.
I've asked 10 people, Your Honor. You are the presiding man here. There's only hired you, sir.
When you have a meeting with Judge Waldo in the morning, you can ask him.
So I should just take a picture of him and bring it in? You won't tell me his name? I apologize, sir.
That's not my employee.
Right, but you can't identify him so I can file litigation against him?
You can talk to them or Mr. Waldo, Judge Waldo.
Your Honor, Federalist 78, you are the highest ranking member of this court. You are for law and order.
Sir, if you want to, you're welcome to stay if you want to, but I'm not going to carry on this conversation.
No, I mean, these are your duties, and I
Federalist 78 in the Federalist Papers talks about the responsibility of judges.
And I know what they are, and I respect you, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. The number one responsibility of judges is to be accountable to the rule of law. And you can read this by Alexander Hamilton in Federalist number 78. And what that judge just did was he violated his oath to the bench. When I asked him to identify someone who had assaulted me, he refused to identify, meaning he's not holding up the rule of law. And that's what's going on all across America. That's why I'm traveling the country helping people. We're living in clown world here. Without the camera, without transparency, those people would have jumped me and beat me up. And then these people here are liars and frauds, complete and utter. I mean, just get a good look at his face. He doesn't honor his father and mother. Get a good look at her face. She doesn't honor her father or her mother.
Because they lie. Yep.
How does that feel? To have an allegiance instead of the Constitution, but to a blue line. Just pathetic. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. People are driving by honking at me, saying, keep going, don't stop. Everyone in this town is sick of it. Everybody in this town is sick of it.
Last one. I got to go after
Hear
this
what
one.
they're doing to these people.
Episode
I
5.
got Pam on camera lying and saying she didn't say that she didn't threaten to arrest you.
You said you can file a complaint for him if you want, but I can also arrest you for filing a false complaint against my officer.
So,
Yeah, this goes to court.
no, they're gonna duck. They're gonna duck. That's what they're gonna do. Have these guys been just absolutely stalking you and harassing you?
I don't know what else to call it other than
Where's
that.
the mask, will you?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. 2 years this has been going on. I work over here. I have family over here. It's hard not to come across the bridge. We're a tri-state area. Everywhere is right across from each other. And these officers, every time I'm here, they make their presence known. They follow me. They smirk. They intimidate. I mean, it's pathetic. They act like a bunch of middle school boys. And it's to the point that I do fear for my safety when I come over here. And these are supposed to be the people that you go to for help to protect you.
Shout out to the editor who did a fantastic job on this. Thank you, brother. Hit the like button if you would, please. Hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button.
Tell them what happened 2 years ago. Just give them the basis of what
So,
happened.
my fiance and I went to the dollar store when I had hands packed full of bags, leaving the store, and I had his wallet in my hand. Well, I guess in the midst of putting the groceries in the car and leaving, I dropped his wallet. Well, I hadn't noticed it at the time, so I left and went across the street to the CVS. Once getting there, I kind of noticed across the street that a police officer has pulled into the spot that I just left.
He was talking to somebody in a van, and then after we pulled out, he circled around and pulled into our spot and opened his door and reached out. And we didn't know what he was doing yet until she was like, the wallet. And I'm like, I don't have it. And we went to the dollar store, and the security camera showed walking out the door with it. So from the door to the car.
Okay.
So when we got in the car, it fell on the ground, we assume. And we saw him pick something up. So she went to the police department.
Okay. And then you came right here.
I did. I came directly here. I didn't know who it was. So when I came here, there was a gentleman here, and I explained to him the situation. I said there was an officer that was just at the dollar store. Could you please have him dispatched here? And he said, well, what for? I said, I believe he picked up my wallet, and I would like to get it back and would like to do that.
What does he say when he pulls in here?
So he says, how can I help you? I said, well, sir, I'm pretty sure I just watched you pick up my fiance's wallet, and I thought I would just get it back. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have your wallet. I said, sir, you just left the dollar store parking lot, and I'm pretty sure you picked up our wallet.
We watched him
We'd like to
circle in the
have it
parking
back.
lot and look in his lap for like 10 seconds. Like he had to have been looking through it. Right.
And
And there was $130 in it. Whoop-de-doo.
No, not what you do. You told me earlier you make $15 an hour, so
Yeah.
$130 is a full day's wages.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Is that correct? So you're not rich.
Absolutely.
You're not rich.
Oh, no, we're like paycheck to paycheck.
So $130 is a lot of money.
Dude, we can barely keep our car on the road.
Right,
That's our electric
right.
bill
So
pay.
then what happens?
I said, sir, honestly, I thought you would have integrity and give it back. He says, well, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't take it. And even if I did find it, there's not going to be any money in it. And immediately I was like, okay, well, obviously he took it. I
He
mean,
said, you know what you're doing is accusing an
you
officer
know-
of the law of
I
theft.
said, I'm not accusing you, sir. I'm saying I watched you get it and I needed it back.
So let's jump, Sarah. So she doesn't get the wallet back. He takes the $130. He takes the wallet, and then
He pulled out and followed me all the way across town. Conveniently pulled me in to the place where I purchased my vehicle. But he said his reason for the stop was that it came back as a tan vehicle.
Okay, so this is the jalopy. Personally, I think that it is a grayish color, but it does have a tan undertone, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it looks more gray or silvery.
she was pulled over because he ran her plate without probable cause, which is a violation of the law. And then he said he pulled her over because her car's coming back not tan, but silver or whatever the BS he made up was. He pulled her over for saying that her reg didn't come back with the right color of car. That's what she was pulled over for the wrong color car. And what happens?
He wrote me a ticket after I proved that was
they wanted to
incorrect. He
identify
wrote
me.
a ticket because I had a mask hanging from a rear view mirror.
Right, he wrote her a ticket for that because you were sitting in the passenger seat and they wanted to identify.
They wanted to ID me, and I told them, look, I'm a passenger. You can talk to her. They had like 6 cops around the car.
And then they let you guys go. And then what happens after that?
It was pretty quiet for a little bit. But then after that,
A few months passes.
we came over and helped my mother-in-law move some furniture, and we're traveling back through town to meet my sister at the CVS.
We passed this guy. He's got his nose sticking out of the car wash. As we pass him, he sees our vehicle and literally immediately pulls out, and he's like 3 cars back. He follows us until he turns off, speeds down another street, and tries to get closer behind us. And he gets like 1 car, but now he's got 1 car between us. And he's weaving back and forth. And when we pull into CVS, I used my turn signal at the gym, right? It's like almost a half a block away. And I knew he was back there. I knew he was going to pull us. I pulled in. We got out of our car. He hadn't pulled in yet. The car that was in front of him stopped, and it took him a minute to get in the parking lot. We were halfway across the parking lot.
Tim, why did he pull you over?
He said he pulled me over for, oh God, I got a brain fart. Yeah, 100 feet prior is what he said.
Tim, what?
Wait, why do I have to give you that? I don't understand.
Because I stopped you for a traffic violation. You have to
What-
get
For what traffic?
not using turn signal 100 feet prior.
Did I commit a crime? I need to speak to your supervisor.
Oh, whoa, whoa!
Hey, he drops his gun clip, bullets go falling everywhere. He grabs his taser immediately because she comes out the driver's side because she thinks they're
they're
shooting.
I thought they were going to shoot him.
She saw a gun clip hit the ground. She thought they had a gun out.
Sir!
Get back.
Get your camera on, please!
Back in the car.
Sarah,
Stay in the car.
no one's going to
I never
record it.
resisted or anything.
This is
What the hell is this about?
He's up.
One of the supervisors show up, and I said, "Are you a supervisor?" He says, "No, but you got the right to remain silent, so fucking do it." So then the other supervisor shows up while I'm in the back of the cruiser, but only after the officer pulls him to the side and lies his ass off to him about. He changes his story so many times.
And then do they take you to the dungeon?
Oh yeah.
How long are you in jail for?
3 days.
How long are you in cuffs for?
Oh, a good, what, 45 minutes?
45 minutes in handcuffs. And then so when he takes in the dungeon, are you allowed to take the car and leave?
Oh, no. They held me, too. I actually got put in the back of 2 different cruisers.
In handcuffs?
In handcuffs.
Okay. You can stand back here with him. Okay.
Why did you do that?
Okay.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back.
I've done nothing wrong. It's not wrong to plead my case. What have I done?
They took them both to jail for not using a blinker.
She tried to bail me out the next day after I got her bailed out. My mom came bail her out. She tried to come bail me out. They told her that I had a holder or a warrant or something. They lied. I didn't have any of that.
Right. So what happens here is when they arrest him, they put him in the dungeon for 3 days. But the next day she goes down to the jail and says, I want to get my boyfriend out. And they say that there's a hold. They can't get him out. That was a lie. They left him in there just to leave him in there. Is that true?
Absolutely.
I think I said in the last voicemail to you that I'm going to teach more. I'm seeing it.
The real problem in our country is a lack of education. You know, this goes back to that thesis that I studied, John Locke. Show me the character of a man and I'll show you how much education he has. It's the problem in our country is that no one knows anything. Was it planned that they would make sure the people didn't know their rights? Listen, I'm going to come off a little bit rough on some of the things I'm doing. It's going to be hard for a lot of people to understand me, but just know that everything I do, I'm doing for justice. All right. I got to go. I love you, Mom. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
They pulled over twice for having the wrong color car, twice for no blinker, and they put them in cuffs and arrested them. You think that's appropriate, Pam?
They got arrested for no blinker?
They got arrested. They went to the dungeon, Pam, for obstruction of justice for not showing ID.
So there it is. That's the preview. We got the first 15 episodes done, and Special Ed Andrews here. What's going on, brother? So listen, you guys, if you ordered anything during this live stream, please check your email. I sent you everything I sell for free. Let me check my free list. A lot of people have contacted me. Go to the WordPress inquiry form. I filled at least 30 people who requested free trifolds from me. So check your email right now. Let me make sure that you guys got everything that I'm putting out. It's 3:52. I got to be somewhere by 4. So I was planning on doing something else from 3 to 4, but as you guys know, I just end up getting caught up in what I'm doing. And so you guys, please subscribe to American Patriot. That's going to be 100 episodes, 200 episodes that we're going to cut down to bite-sized chunks so people can follow what I've done in this country the past few years, because people don't even know what I've actually done. And just so you know, in Ironton, Ohio, when I went there were 2 cops there, Bradley Spuljarek and Jonathan Spuljarek. Bradley Spuljarek is now in prison because I outed him for being a drug dealer, and then he got caught being a drug dealer. He's now in prison. Jonathan Spuljarek, I outed him for being a pedophile, that he raped a high school girl, that he groomed her in junior high school and then raped her. And then I found a video where he had wrongfully entered a guy named Kent Freeman's house and tased him and abused him. He's being sued by Kent Freeman right now. It's a current case. You can look it up, Freeman versus Spuljarek. The case is ongoing. And after that, 6 months after I left, Pam Wagner resigned. So where I go, change happens. And Ironton, Ohio, just so you guys know, to give a little update for anybody in Ironton who's going to see this, my federal civil rights lawsuit is still ongoing. I filed an amended complaint. I've appealed to the circuit court, and I will keep on suing them until justice is served. God bless you guys. God bless the United States. We don't stop. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you. Later, Gators.